All right, we're live.
Probably want to cut them.
Yeah.
Those Lords of Underground. The Dream Show live. What's up, everybody? In studio, Parkway Automotive Studios. Myself, the Isaac.
What to do?
He's in here on the ones and twos. Special guest, Drew. I'm pointing at something that's up here. Y'all don't know.
Sup.
He probably looks.
It looks like you're pointing at him. You're there.
Does
You're
it?
good. Yeah,
Okay,
just
nice.
run with it.
He's right here beside
Bobby,
me.
both of them.
He's right here to my left.
Just to the left in the Chevy Yukon.
Yeah, we're in studio here at the Parkway Automotive. So we just, we're putting Yukons and everything in here now. It's a new experience. It's a fun thing that we're trying to do here for y'all. I guess first things first, Musgrove Trial Firm. Thank you. 678-226-1994. Call your buddy, man. Any accidents that you have, personal injuries, car accidents, whatever, you just need to call somebody to talk to them and just chat for a second. Just give them a call, man. Say, hey, man, Steven said call you and see how you're doing, man. You need somebody just to talk to. Hit him up, 678-226-1994. Can't go wrong with Musgrove Trial Firm. Drew.
What's happening, Steven?
Man, you're like one of the biggest celebrities that I know. We got to hang out a few different times now. Most recent one, you were, I guess, the coach of the champion from the season, the Quadzilla.
Quadzilla, my boy.
Oh yeah, we're not talking about that. We're talking about David. I mean, I guess you were Isaac's coach as well. That's true.
Very true.
Yep. So it was. What was your? If you could just give a little bit of your overall experience being in the PGF to the people here, what would you say?
Yeah, the way that Brandon McCaffron, the guy who set it up in Decatur, has set up this whole formula, it was totally different than what I was used to for a tournament experience. So it was really alien, to be honest, to begin with, when we walked in and there was what do they call them? Tryouts. It was the
combine.
Combine, that's what it is. See, I'm one of those guys who's super geek into jiu-jitsu but follows no other sports. I don't sports at all. I don't know about all the terms with the balls and the nets and the combines and shit like that. So I walked in and saw a bunch of jiu-jitsu guys going to death on the assault bike and trying to jump as far as they could on the mats. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing as far as a coach selecting these guys. It was I was trying to basically ignore all of that stuff to try to see what are these guys' attributes going to be like? Because to be honest, I didn't have a whole lot of background insight on most of them. So I was watching day one, who would I want on my team as far as X factor? That was my primary thing I was looking for, was X factor. So I was looking for body type. I was looking for personality. I was looking for wild boys. I was looking for people who would mix it up, because I knew that coming into, and people that don't know what the PGF is like, it's a guaranteed 4-day gauntlet of 4 tournaments in a row every day, where every person on your team of 5 gets 3 guaranteed matches. So 3 matches is basically what a tournament is. Most times you go to a tournament, you get 3 matches, you're usually in the finals. That's a good day at a tournament. Well, you do that against guys at the PGF who are all tournament beaters. They're all gold medalists. They're really talented grapplers. There's no scrubs there. And you're getting to go against 3 different ones every day for 4 days in a row to try to win your way into the 5th and final day on Saturday, where you get to beat the best of the best. It was insane. So knowing all of that, that was the info I was going into. I was looking for guys who I knew could be grinders, who I knew would be hard guys to submit, hard guys to manage, hard guys to guess what they were going to do next. That was my key metric I was looking for.
What?
That's why Isaac was so highly touted.
I was like, what made you pick me?
The number one X
3?
factor.
Yeah. I saw the tie-dyed ape sitting over there. I knew Isaac from my Discord for sure. So he was one of the people that I knew through there. But I could tell, just as, I was talking about, the energy you were putting out there. Hey, you're on Team Wild Boy. I need to get you on Supernatural Survival Gear's team.
Proven. Oh yeah, dude.
I delivered on that.
And so honestly, looking at that, you ended up with 2 of the most athletic guys for sure.
They were my top picks there.
With Caleb and with David Evers, and then also the dump truck Randy, who
That was a
Man,
good.
people slept on Randy. People were like shitting on me in the chat during the combine when I picked Randy. I'm thinking, man, I understand that you're trying to get team points from submissions, and maybe on a pure submission standpoint, he's not the best pick because I think he got one submission throughout the
Mhm.
whole tournament.
That's right.
But every single person he went against, all of the people he went against, I guess 11 people, 12 people, they had a bad match against him. Nobody had a good match against Randy, and he was our Gronk that I was throwing in there to fuck people up. Like his job was to go in there and fuck them up for the rest of the team, and he absolutely did that to everybody. I mean, there was a full-on belly-to-back suplex at one point. There was the best wrestler on Team Toe Hold that everybody was getting taken down by. He just absolutely manhandled as a blue belt for 6 minutes, just absolutely crushed and demolished him past his guard like 6 times. That was Randy's job, and he over-delivered on that. I was blown away by him. So, you know, a lot of these picks that people were shitting on during the combine, during the draft particularly, where I got to pick my team, I think that they understand what was up halfway through the season. And if they didn't, then here's your little tip.
Yeah, dude, it was very interesting. And if anybody watched season 2 of the PGF, Randy was in that. I was also in that. So Randy and I competed against each other in season 2. So yes, I definitely can relate to that.
You felt the dump truck?
I mean, it's not like you said, like I was never under the impression that Randy was going to submit me, but literally anything that I tried to do to him, he just shut me down and made me feel like I was a child. And at one point,
he's a wet blanket with like an Energizer Bunny battery.
Yeah, one time I had, I think, like double underhooks in like half guard, and he picked me up from the floor while I was down. And I was like, all right, cool, man. All right, we'll do this.
You're not a little man.
Exactly. So I was like, all right, I got to respect that. You know, it doesn't happen much, but when it does, you gotta know what to do. So yeah, I was really surprised. The thing I think that hurt Randy the most was maybe the way he looked when he came in to weigh in. I think everybody thought he was going to have a really hard time based on that.
He's felt like that before, though, and you could tell that wasn't his first rodeo, feeling that terrible and then going into a competition.
Yeah, he was fine. But he definitely was one of the biggest X factors coming in, and I knew that he was going to give everybody a hard time. But I was genuinely curious to see what like new wrinkles he may have developed between like seasons 2 and 3. And you could see that he had done some stuff. Like his one submission was that scissor takedown or the Kasani.
Yeah, the Candy Busami.
Yeah. So, you know, it shows some growth and stuff like that. So he really exciting, man. Really, really cool. And it was cool to have you there as one of the personalities, you know, in the room. And it brought a different kind of energy, you know, each kind of person that was coaching and stuff. You all did it a different way, and it kind of made it, you know, special kind of like that as well. I definitely saw you strategizing with your team each day. Like you know, you guys were sitting around as a team and doing stuff like that. So it was cool to see that you didn't just come in as like, yeah, I'm just going to come here and like take a vacation this week and hang out and do this like fake jiu-jitsu coaching thing. But you're legitimately trying to do your best to like coach the guys up as much as you could and stuff like that. So I was happy to see that you really like took the role very serious and stuff. So that was nice. Yeah,
coming into it, I didn't really know how I was going to go about it, to be honest, because I had never coached anyone who wasn't my student before. So I had like these 5 built grapplers, which realistically, I can't really give them like jujitsu advice when it comes to like getting better at jujitsu, because obviously there's no time to at that point, but also they have games that I don't even fully understand. So I had to sort of sit down with my own self before going in to coach these guys and think like, what's the best thing I can give them? And to me, it was basic strategy for each person and then macro strategy for the team itself. And so like people like Randy that we were talking about, the strategy was just like beat the shit out of everyone you go against. With Isaac, it was I asked him what his A game was, and he's been working on a bunch of front headlock stuff. So I just gave him a few different ideas of different looks to get him to front headlock, and it worked better and better throughout the week, which was interesting. Every single day I got to reassess the previous day what worked and what didn't, and then I would individually sit down with each guy and tell them like my assessment of what they did best and how we can do it better today. And that's it. That was my coaching style. And then of course, like between me and Caleb was kind of like my co-coach, I guess, because he was also a black belt and a very knowledgeable one when it comes to technique. We were both chirping out basic instructions while they were grappling, but mostly just letting our guys do their thing.
Right. Yeah, I think that's the smartest way to play it almost, though, too. You know, like you said, you didn't have the benefit of having your students in there. And so like Sean, who, for example, you know, he had so many guys make the playoffs, but 3 of those guys are people that have trained with him quite a bit already.
Yeah.
And so like, it was really easy to plug right into that system with those guys and stuff. So yeah, I think you played it as best, you know, could, and the right way. You didn't come in and try to like give wholesale changes to guys who were like already at a certain level, and there was no reason in time to do that kind of thing, you know. So that was really good. I was excited, man. Like it was so much fun. I can't wait to start building up towards the next like 155 season for season 4 and stuff. But beyond season 3 or whatever of the PGF, there's one thing that I'm interested in getting you on here and talking about, and I don't know if everybody else wants to hear as much about it or not, but this is my show and I wanted to talk to you about it. So this is going to be opportunity to kind of ask some questions and maybe understand a little bit more about.
You talk about sex toys, of course.
Yeah. One of your new projects that you've been working on lately. But the NFTs, the project with the ape shakas, and then there's a few other things that are kind of going around with that. Can you explain to me, like, I'm a person that thinks this is just me buying a JPEG for something to have a picture on the internet. Can you explain to someone like that as easily as you could what the purpose of the NFT is?
Yeah, so that's a good place to start, is right at the basics of what's going on, because we can go like way down the rabbit hole on the details and like the upcoming blah blah blah. NFTs is a giant space right now, but the thing is, they're very, very misunderstood by the general population, which was my biggest task when it came to releasing my own collection, was the actual education of the jiu-jitsu community around them. And realistically, I don't think it was as bad as it seemed while I was doing it, but there was like a month lead up to the release where I was marketing it every single day on Because Jitsu. And most of the people coming into the comment section on any of the posts about it were shit talking. And I came to the conclusion, at least halfway through that process, that the people that are shit talking are usually the like dumbest people in the room. And not always like intelligently the dumbest, but just like the people you wouldn't want to talk to at the party. They're like those really loud, really opinionated assholes. And I got the impression that they weren't actually the people I was trying to talk to anyway. So I started ignoring them and just kept putting the information out there. But basically, the way that I did my NFT project, and there's lots of different ways of doing it, but the way that I decided to do it, because it's just the easiest to understand right away, is building into each of these JPEGs, these one-off 420 different pictures of apes and geese, is a bunch of utility. And that's a fancy word in the NFT industry, which means, what do I get for owning this thing? There's something that either you get access to digitally or in the physical world. And I just plugged tons and tons, every bit of utility I had as Drew Weatherhead and as Because Jitsu I could plug in, I plugged into that. So, for example, I'll tell you about the utility in a second, but I want to kind of explain the idea as the idea. So if you were to go online and Metallica was on a reunion tour, and you're like, sweet, I got to get a Metallica ticket because they're coming to my town and I can't miss them, you would pay money online for a digital ticket. And that digital ticket is usually sent to your email, where it has some sort of QR code or something that they scan at the door and lets you into the concert. If you don't have that ticket, you don't get into the concert. So the utility behind buying that ticket is the concert. Does that make sense?
Correct. Yes.
So the NFT is basically your ticket that you can prove to me online that you are accessible to whatever utility is behind this. And for us, it's a club. You're basically getting a VIP access into the Ape Shaka's club, which gives you a bunch of upcoming digital seminars. The only people that can go to them are the people that hold these NFTs. There's going to be an in-person get together, like a jiu-jitsu, like kind of like what you do on the island there, Stephen, escape, a training camp, you know, a fun thing where all of these holders get together in the real world and for free. They just fly there and they get to enjoy and experience that all for free. And that's one of the benefits, one of the utilities behind owning these NFTs. On top of that, there's digital instructionals that have been giving out. Some people get memes made about them. There's like all sorts of different stuff that you can find on the webpage that entices people to be in. But what's even cooler about NFTs in general, and definitely is a big part of the community of Ape Shakas, is when you buy the ticket to Metallica, you actually have the legal and accepted ability to scalp it. So you know the people standing outside of the concert that they bought 2 tickets and there's none left anymore and they're selling them for 10 times the price?
Right.
They still sell those tickets because people want to get in and they didn't have the ability anymore. So what people do in the NFT industry is called flipping. Is they'll buy multiples of something that they think is going to do really well or is going to sell out or is going to have some sort of scarcity or rarity or collectability to it. And then they will turn around and list one of them or multiples of them for more than they paid. And people will happily buy it because they missed their entry into that special club for whatever utility that they wanted. And people, like, all the way through the launch, the sale, the collection completely sold out in a week. And since then have been making money, like actual money, just flipping apes, which is kind of cool. I'm all about that.
Yeah, I actually got one myself from someone that
I saw that.
multiple extras. And I was like, you know, I was one of the people, I was speaking about it with Isaac a little bit this morning. When Bitcoin was like a thing very, very early, I remember hearing about it when it was like $800. And then people talking about it, nobody understood it or anything, and nobody I knew really understood it. And I was like, all right, yeah, that does sound stupid. And so just kind of, that was that, you know. And then obviously it's blown up and it's doing all these things now. And with the NFTs, it was kind of like I had seen that you were doing it, but we were so busy with so many other personal projects and things like that that I really didn't dig into it. And then after it came out, I was like, oh, I think I understand it, but now it's too late. So I found someone that had one for, you know, one of the lower priced floor ones, just to go ahead and jump in there and get into the mix to try to understand more about what it can do. And so even with the one that I got for a lower rate, the person, they profited a little bit off of theirs, but I also got a free mini course from your website with mine. That's one of the, I guess one of the options is like, hey, you can get like a free one of the mini courses from your site, or you could get free access to the unlimited site or stuff like that. And then I guess you're saying also you could do like private VIP meet and greets and things like that, where you would have to have this ticket, which is one of the apes, to be able to get in the house. Like essentially. Okay. And then it would be hard to replicate that, right? So it'd be like if you swipe the QR code or whatever, the blockchain would do the same thing. Is it would be like, oh, somebody's already checked in with this. So this is what part of the things that a lot of people don't understand, which is why they see these stupid apes or whatever the image is in some NFT collection being shown on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or whatever. And you're like, haha, I just screen capped it. Now I own it too. It doesn't work like that, because you own the picture, but the picture isn't what gets you in. It's like taking a picture on your phone of somebody holding a ticket to Metallica and then trying to show that to the bouncer at the door. They're not going to let you in. Right. A better example is taking a picture of $100 bill and then taking it to the bank. Like, it only works if you have the bill and it's verifiable. So what's great about the blockchain is that it's even better than a QR code, because a QR code you can actually screen cap and it will scan. If you own something on the blockchain, that can't be faked, which is why it's termed non-fungible token. You can't funge it. It's non-fuckwithable, which means that anybody around the world can see publicly at any time anything that anybody owns on it. So it's a great way to have verifiability for who owns.
But also what's cool about, I mean, crypto in general, but the blockchain and NFTs for sure, is the decentralized nature of it, so that it really can't be screwed with at the corporate level either. So you can't have like major monopolies screwing with everything, and like these oh, I'm starting to get down the rabbit hole, but a lot of things about Web 2 and what we know as social media is gated by algorithms, by corporations, by business interests, by political interests, by whatever moral issues can see you on the backside of a shadow ban, and that's just not possible on the blockchain because nobody controls it. Everybody either buys in for a piece of ownership and then they can do whatever they want with that piece that they bought, or not. But there's no like oversight committee,
That's very interesting. It is. It's and like I said, I've gotten into it, joined a couple of discords that aren't associated with you guys that are doing different things, just kind of reading around, not necessarily to maybe even buy into those projects, but just to see what it even looks like when people are doing those projects. One of the things that's kind of confusing, and this is also going down the rabbit hole just a little bit, is like I had a wallet with some Ethereum already in it. And then I could transfer that from the wallet that I already had onto the website, which is it's OpenSea, correct?
Mm-hmm.
That's
yeah,
where
OpenSea.io.
Right. That's the collection site. That's where it's at. And there's other collections that are on there as well. And when I'm trying to transfer over, what they call the gas fees or the transfer fees,
oh yeah,
like that, that seems a little bit excessive in the way, like at certain times of the day, I've been explained that it's based on maybe the electrical output or something like that. So is there a way that that would be the best workaround behind that, instead of maybe staying up to watch it and see what happens?
Yeah, this is one of the things that is like constantly a headache and everybody's a thorn in their side on crypto in general. If you're using the Ethereum blockchain, which is, for people who don't know, it's one of the biggest blockchains in the world. There's the Bitcoin blockchain and the Ethereum blockchain, and the Ethereum one gets most of the action these days. But the problem is, because it gets most of the action, it just clogged down by all of these transactions trying to happen at the same time. So the way that they sort of parse that is they put a fee on top of how fast you want your transaction to be resolved in the queue. So if you've got 10,000 people in 1 second trying to make a transaction, the more gas fee you put into your transaction, the further up the queue it will go. And so you can see that on a global level. When you've got a whole world trying to use the same blockchain, the more you pay for it, the higher up you go. It's kind of like the medical industry. If you go into the emergency room and slip the doctor $200, you're probably going to get to go through the triage faster. You know what I mean? But that's essentially the problem with gas fees right now, is because there's so many people that are on-ramping into crypto and into NFTs through Ethereum that it's becoming a little unmanageable, where you can try to buy like $100 NFT and have $150 gas fee to do that, which is a pain in the ass, because obviously you're paying more than it's worth just for the ability to buy it, which sucks. But what you're saying, the time of day really matters, because that's the volume level of people trying to make transactions will be different throughout the day, throughout the world. And recently, I think anywhere from, what was it, like 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. Pacific Standard Time seems to be the lowest traffic time in general. Yeah, but there are other blockchains that are offering better solutions if you can do your work on them. So that's why I ended up doing mine on the Polygon blockchain, which unfortunately you still need to go through the Ethereum one to get to the Polygon one, because it's technically a side chain to Ethereum. It's called a layer 2 solution, which means that it's like peripheral to Ethereum. It uses the same idea, but it has a much less usage on it, which makes it faster and it makes it a hell of a lot cheaper. So for that same $100 NFT, you may only pay 2 cents for the gas instead of $150. So it makes sense why you would want to do more business on there. Solana is another one that's doing that. Crypto.com does it with their Crow coin. There's a bunch of other blockchains that are trying to fill that need of lower gas fees when it comes to like transactions on it.
So I'm sorry, I just realized something here, just thinking about it. So one of the things I use is Coinbase, and they sell is Polygon directly on there. If I bought that on there, would that avoid having to use the gas fees on OpenSea if that wallet transfers over? Correct? Am I being correct?
Yeah,
in that?
depending how you do it. Now, this is where it gets super confusing. Is Polygon, their native token, which is like the cryptocurrency behind their company, is called Matic. And Matic is their token, but it's not what's used on OpenSea on the Polygon network. They use something called Polygon Ethereum, which is Ethereum that has been bridged from layer 1, being the Ethereum blockchain, onto layer 2, being the Polygon blockchain. So you have to bridge your ETH over into Polygon ETH. And that incurs a gas fee from bridging. It's a transaction on the original blockchain on the layer 1, which costs gas. So what some people figured out to get around that is what you're saying. They go to the exchange, whether it's Coinbase or Binance or whatever they're using, and if they have the ability there to directly buy Polygon Ethereum with whatever, maybe with a credit card, just buy Polygon Ethereum and then use that on OpenSea, you'll skip that Ethereum bridging fee. And that anytime you can skip any sort of Ethereum gas fee is going to make your life a whole lot easier.
So not the Matic token, then it would need to be.
You don't want Matic. No.
Okay,
what Matic is nowadays is, that's confusing. So what Matic is used for nowadays is just the gas fee on the Matic, on the Polygon blockchain. So the same way that Ethereum is used for gas fees on Ethereum blockchain, Matic is used for gas fees on the Polygon blockchain. So what's cool is that OpenSea doesn't require, because sorry, I'm interrupting. No. Because the gas fees are so cheap on Polygon right now, OpenSea actually covers all Matic gas fee charges on their platform. OpenSea is basically like the PayPal of NFTs. It's like the big platform that people go to buy and sell. And they're so big that they're just like, we're cool. We'll cover your gas fees if you're using Polygon ETH, and you won't have to worry about it, which isn't a big deal for them. It's like pennies per transaction, but it saves their customers from having to own Matic in their wallet to do it. Whereas people on the ETH side of their platform have to use Ethereum for the gas fee. So if you make a transaction with Polygon Ethereum outside of OpenSea, you're going to have a little bit of Matic in your wallet. I found that out the hard way. But I mean, I have like $60 worth of Matic in my wallet that I've used pennies from a few times.
Okay, that's interesting. So I was just thinking about that as a whole, because then if it's up, because it's probably, as the gas fees are going up and everybody's shifting all this stuff over, then Matic is going to go up in value.
Yeah, for sure.
It's kind of
supply and demand type.
Right. Yeah. That's really interesting. That's it. There's so many layers to this stuff. The rabbit hole, if you will, can go months and months and months deep, I'm sure, years deep at this point for some people. It's very interesting. It's incredibly interesting about some of the possibilities that you can do. Obviously, one of the things I noticed in some things is like, if an artist has art, like you're an artist that creates different types of art, like your memes or different things. But if it was someone else that was doing like other traditional quote types of art or something like that, that is still on an online medium, that every time that piece of art is resold, they could have it programmed in that they could have a percentage of the total sale sent back to them. I thought that was very interesting. That way it's not, I've got all of Isaac's work now and I'm just going to flip it and he gets crap for it. At least he'll get a cut of the upgrade every time people upgrade on him. So there's just so many things, man. So it's super interesting. And I'm just
what's cool with the way that NFTs as a marketplace is set up is, for the first time in the internet's history, the artist is paid the majority of the amount right off the hop. That hasn't happened in like the real world for a very long time. Like, think about the music industry. It's the one that people can relate to the most. Artists are being paid shit compared to what the label industries are getting. You know what I mean? Like they'll get single percentage, maybe even like a decimal point of a percentage of the total gross income from their sales from their art. Like, nobody else wrote that song but them, and they get like just pittance off of it. Whereas on the blockchain through NFTs, the way it's set up, and the easiest way I like to explain this is like a teeter-totter, where you've got a teeter-totter and me as the artist on one side and the investors on the other side. So the transactions start with all of my all of my art, all of the things that I'm putting up for sale on one side, which bottoms the teeter-totter right down to the ground. And little bits of that get taken off and owned by other people on the other side of the teeter-totter as investors and replaced on my side with wealth. So they give me a little bit of wealth. They take a little bit of ownership of my art. And by the time that whole transaction happened, your collection sells out. All the art is on the other side, but it's replaced with wealth on my side to the tune of like 99% of all of the transactions at this point are on my side as far as wealth, which is great for the artist. That's never happened before, where all of a sudden the transaction is front loaded for the artist, where I'm making the majority of the income. But this is the cool part now, is that as time goes on and as the project matures and gets more and more successful, these flippers, people who are holding these things, actually end up making the majority of all-time wealth. So take, for example, the Bored Ape Yacht Club. This is the one that everybody sees the most and are most familiar with, these stupid-looking monkeys that people are buying now for like $250,000. And celebrities like Eminem and Jimmy Kimmel and stuff are dropping hundreds of thousands. Kevin Hart just bought one the other day for like $200,000. When they first released, when they were first sold, primary sales from the artists to the original investors, they sold for 0.08 ETH, which was at that time like $80. So at that time, when he sold out, his collection had 10,000 apes at about $80 a piece. That's a lot of money that he made right off the bat. That only he made. He made a ton. But a couple years later, that was in like 2018. A few years later, the majority of the all-time wealth is on the investor side. Even though he takes maybe 10% of each sale, they take 90%. And like, you go to the activity section on OpenSea for the Bored Apes, and I do this from time to time just to remind myself how much fucking money is in this space, is you'll see like 10 or 12 of these things moving per day at an order of $250,000 a piece.
Jesus.
There's so much money in that collection.
That's what I'm saying. It's like you're talking about the money, but that's just moving like a little bit at a time. But every time that goes, that person gets that percentage like 4 times a day, which is right. Like you're true, but I just think that that's really cool. That still Drew 5 years from now could potentially, like, if it's $250K when they flip it, you're still going to get your 3% or whatever you plugged into the program. And then now it's like, yes, okay, another person wants it for $250 today. Cool. Another 3%.
You just made $25,000. Yeah, cool. Up for 10%.
Just run it again. Yeah. And that's what I think is all of that super cool.
That's super cool. And another layer to that too is what we're talking about now is what really powers the NFT is called a smart contract. And so everybody knows what a contract is. If you sign a contract for something, you're legally entering into a deal, right? And the smart contract can be set up to whatever you want on the back end. And primarily it's focused around utility as well as royalties, which is what you're talking about, the percentage that the creator gets off of each sale. You can actually set up your smart contract to automatically give that royalty in any certain percentage to as many people as you want. So some of these NFT collections, part of the utility is 50% of all royalties will go to a certain account that will be split up and divvied among all owners once per year. So think about that. You're not only buying in to own for utility, to flip for profit, but once a year, you're going to make back a percentage of all time, 50% of all time royalty for that year, divvied among however many people own that thing. That's huge. And it only goes up over time as the project matures.
It's incredible. It's just that's
what I've been excited about. The smart contract. I've been ranting about this. That's how I ran across your project, was because I was trying to figure out how to front end, how to fund a company basically from this concept, and talking about that. Like, that's how I ran across yours. And then I was like, oh, well, then I'll just participate in what this guy's doing and learn about it. And so I stumbled into it.
Well, this is what's really cool is we're watching the community build right now. And just for people who are watching that aren't in it, you can go join the brand new Ape Shaka's Discord that just went live. You can check it out through, I believe, I'm going to have to put the link up still. I forgot to put the link up, but I'll put it in my bio on Because Jitsu and on Drew.Weatherhead on Instagram. You can find the website for Ape Shaka's there. You can find the Discord that exists for Because Jitsu there, where you can find this shit, as well as the links to OpenSea where you can view and enter the collection. But as the community grows, this is the cool part, is because of that equation that front ends to the artist and then starts over distributing for all-time wealth to the investors. It's not a typical transaction where you've got like a product that I'm trying to sell. Say I'm trying to sell a rash guard. I create the rash guard, I sell it to you for a bit of wealth, say $60, and you get this cool rash guard, and that's the end of it. You know, I'd probably never see you again. You're happy with your rash guard, I'm happy with my $60, but that was it. The difference with this NFTs is you're not just getting something that you benefit from, you're getting something that you profit from, but also you build a community that we all win together, and everybody wants everybody to win together, because the more everybody wins, the more you win. So that is the same from the artist side as well as from the investor side. We're all a team, and the more like you get this camaraderie that builds up in this community that doesn't exist in typical transactions when it comes to like capitalism. You know, usually it's just like everybody out for themselves, a rat race, dog eat dog. But in the NFT space, you're building actual communities that matter and everyone cares about, because we're all in it together. We want to win. We have this personality that you build as a community. And it's really cool to get these really smart, engaged, and excited minds in the same place that are all trying to get the same thing going on. And it works.
It does. And I see some so like I said, being in a few of the discords, I see the threads and the way that people are pushing each thing and like trying to get each other into each other's projects. And this project helps that project being, you know, tied in together and stuff. So having a group of artists that do things together and that could have things that tie in, like
this is going to change the creative world.
I say it's such a beautiful like community idea that hopefully will play out the way that is right, you know, for us all. I think
this is what's cool, is that it's not dependent on a market. It's not dependent on a corporation. It's not dependent on a platform. It's only limited by your imagination. Like, take for example, there's this rapper that nobody's heard of up in Canada that, I mean, he was like semi-famous, I guess. I didn't know about him before this story, but he'd been on a couple labels and he was kind of on the come up, but he decided to make his new album coming out in NFT. So the only way you could get it was on the blockchain. I don't fully understand how they do that with music yet, but I guess they figured it out so that you can only own it, like the actual sound files, if you buy this NFT, which is absolutely groundbreaking as far as the music industry is concerned, because now the artist actually owns their art as a musician, 100% of it, and they can decide what to do with it. And what this guy did is he made 1 million NFTs of his new album, and he sold them for $1 each, and they sold out in 20 minutes. He got enough hype around this thing at a $1 entry fee that he sold out 1 million copies in under an hour, which made him an instant millionaire for one. That's pretty cool. You know, he's going to catch a piece of royalties on up to 1 million different transactions after that in perpetuity. That's pretty cool. The people got into the project for a fucking dollar. That's pretty cool. But what's really cool is he made history as the fastest artist to platinum of all time.
Ever. Wow. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I just had like two random ideas I sent to 2 group texts that I was like, oh my God, I just had a thought of how to make it work on the back end. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Every time
the ideas are the fire behind this.
Say again,
Drew. Sorry.
I said ideas are the fuel that push this thing forward. It's literally just limited by your imagination.
It's crazy.
Yeah, man. There's a lot. Like, I've been thinking about a lot of different things too. And Isaac and I have talked about a bunch of his ideas and how they could blend. And it's really, really interesting. So I was glad he said that you had some time that you were going to give us to come sit down and chat with us and stuff like that. So I appreciate it. This is not an ad or anything like that. This is me genuinely. I was like, hey man, let's get Drew on there so we can get him pinned down by ourselves and ask questions. So
this is exciting to me, man. Since this thing has popped off, and like there's a whole story behind the actual idea, the creation, the implementation, the marketing, and the sellout of my collection. But since it actually sold out, which I never knew if it was going to or not, because it had never been done in our space. This was a first sort of trailblazer moment where it was, I guess we'll see kind of thing. And it blew out in a week. I've been come to by numerous people, small and large, companies, individuals, every day since then. We're like 3 weeks out from the sellout, and every single day new people are coming to me asking me how to do this, how they can do this for their brand. And I'm happy to help everybody, because The space is so huge. And this is the craziest part. People look at this project and they're like, well, Drew can do it because he has 171,000 followers on Because Jitsu. He can do this because he's got a name in the industry. And, you know, that's it. The numbers, just by dint of the size of it, guarantee that he's going to do really well in it. I'm willing to blow your mind right now with some numbers, and they're not big, and that's what's mind-blowing about them, is even though I have 171,000 followers on Instagram, I sold out my collection to the tune of $100,000 worth of Ethereum in 1 week with 247 buyers. That's it. So you see these Discords that are filling up right now, like Kent Peters' Discord for his new cryptos that are coming out, his zombie ones. He's got like over 300 people in his Discord, which doesn't seem like a lot, but those are people that are all there for the NFT.
They're all going to charge.
It's more than sold out my collection. So like that's huge. People don't look at that number and understand how huge that is. Like this, you don't need a massive Instagram influencer following to do really well in this space and then grow your own community for whatever purpose you want.
Yeah, and then we've also got the PGF ones that are probably going to be dropping in the next 3 weeks too. So like that Discord's filling that. Watching those Discords fill up has been crazy. And I had always my little sister that's like kind of I'll be nice, but she's into the gaming world deep. And so I'd heard her talk about Discord, and then I got in there in yours and started learning. And I mean, the communities grow up and sprout up. And like you said, I've seen creatives getting stuff supported that like you would never get off the ground trying to pitch that to just somebody. But like,
yeah, you don't need people's permission.
Yeah. But it's cool.
Yeah, I don't really have anything else about that at this time.
You need to absorb.
I'm super like in my head about that part right now. So
this is what happens. It's not going to end too. I have ideas going in my head all day long about this stuff.
No, it's awesome, man. It's incredible the possibilities that are coming out now for people. And dude, you've been honestly at the front of different versions of things in the community. You know, like your meme page or whatever was not started because you thought you were some incredible comedian that was going to set the world on fire with memes. You're just like, I'm just kind of bored up here. I'm just going to do this thing and see what happens. And now you're like the overlord of jiu-jitsu memes, and everybody has to come through you if they want to like pass the test of memes. And now you've branched it out into now you went past Because Jitsu into now you're also Drew Weatherhead, the instructor online that has really great courses and people enjoy your instructional style and stuff. So you kind of came out from behind the curtain that was the meme guy and showed yourself as the good black belt instructor and teacher and stuff like that. And then now you reinvented again now into the NFT crypto space as an innovator in that field and stuff like that, Drew. So I'm not sure if you think about that stuff specifically a lot, man, but I've been following you and kind of known you a little bit off and on over the years. So it's been really, really fun to like sit and watch you and like try to take little pieces of what I feel confident enough to try to do in my own way from some of the stuff I'm watching you do. So thank you, man, for like blazing so many trails for some of us.
Well, I appreciate that, Stephen. And if I were to give like some actual useful general advice to people, if whether you're into crypto or not, whether you're into NFTs or not, this is, like you're saying, it has more to do with success in life from my experience than it has to do with any particular avenue. Is look, I'm not a genius when it comes to NFTs. I'm not the world's best person when it comes to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or memes in general. You know, like where I found my success in life is by just doing things and not waiting till it's perfect and not asking permission and not worrying if it's going to fail or succeed. And to be honest, people don't know how many things I've done that have failed compared to how many things have succeeded. And it's usually in an area of like 20-1. I've failed way more times on projects that didn't go anywhere than the ones that did. And that's part of the process. That's not failing. That's just how you find out what works. Because I didn't know I was good at memes till I tried it. I didn't know I was going to be accepted as a black belt instructor online until I tried it. And there's going to be a lot of times where you fail on the way too. And you're going to have to persevere through that. But really, like, the most important step is the first one. So there was this thing that happened to me when I was, I guess about 10 years old, is there was there's a public pool where I was growing up that had a platform that was 3 meters, which is approximately 15, 16 feet off the ground. Cement platform that comes over the deep end. And for a 10-year-old, it might as well have been Mount Everest. It was incredibly high for a diving board. I would go off the 1 meter, which is like 3 feet, and that was fine. But the 3 meter, that's gigantic. That's like you're looking down over an ocean. And I was terrified of jumping off that diving board. And my buddy did it and then started like goading me and was like, you got to try. I'm like, oh man, all right, peer pressure. I guess I got to go up there. And I stood at the back of that diving board for about 2 minutes, looking over the edge. And I walked to the edge and looked down, and it was worse. And then I walked back. And then I decided in my head, okay, I am not going back down these stairs. I'm here. I'm going to try this. And this is what I'm going to do. And I resolved to do this. And I remember this clearly. I said, I'm just going to get both my feet off the edge, and then I can have all my regrets on the way down. And that's what I did. I walked until I fell, and I loved it. And I did it like 50 more times that day because it was way more fun than I expected. And I've taken that rule, that principle in life forward ever since then. Whenever I do something that or have an idea that I want to do, that I want to try, and is scary, and I'm not sure is going to work, I'll be like, I'm going to try it first and then worry about it after that. That'll get you so much further in life than having to overthink something, to like think about all the negatives and all. Like, look, you've got to think about the negatives. Don't think everything's going to work, but don't let that stop you from trying it first. Try it first and then start, fail on your way up or win on your way down, either way.
Fail forward. That's what I always say. Fail forward.
I knew I liked this guy. 2 steps to the instructions and dive, right?
Yeah.
Right? That's the thing, is like you have a general understanding of what it takes, and then you just go for it. And then
that's right.
Trial and error. And if you're really passionate and you really care about it, you'll keep working at it to make it better. And so you'll scrap what wasn't good and you'll reattack with the new game plan. And, if it works better, cool. And if not, then again, you'll regroup and recharge and stuff. So yeah, man, it's just that exact thing over and over again. It's like, you just got to like take the step forward and do the plunge no matter what. And that's basically kind of like what we did with the camp for Costa Rica, and stuff like that too. Is like, there was no reason to think that we could do it, but there was no reason to sit there and dwell on why we couldn't do it either. It was just like, we're just going to make it happen somehow. And it went off the rails a couple of times in the meantime of it, but then just staying the course and rebooting and watching and learning from other people and stuff, we're kind of able to pull it off. So we're not kind of, but we're actually able to pull it off, stuff like that. So definitely could not agree more on that sentiment. That's life in general. That's everything, man. I think it's like, that's the beauty of maybe the black belt in and of itself. I think that's probably one of the things that you learn the most on the way to that, or as you get that, is just taking the step, and you gotta try it, feel it, see what's up, and then adjust from the once you've already taken the step forward, you can't, go again. I know you're at the beach and you had talked about maybe spending some time with your family before the weather shifted or anything. So we'll let you get out of there in just a second. Is there anything else that you want to say really quick, or any shout outs or people you want to say anything to really quick before we get out of here?
Yeah, definitely shout out to everybody who bought the NFT already. They're my fam. They know who they are. We've got the new Discord in there. If you're not on there already, especially if you're a holder and you didn't know about it, definitely get into the Ape Shaka's Discord. I will have it up in my profile here shortly after this podcast. And even if you're just interested to see what's going on, you don't have to be a holder to go join up and see what the community is like. But also just to people in general, look, like I've been through, and everybody's been through, a shitstorm of the last couple of years. Like, it's been a ton of ups and downs. I've had my life flipped completely upside down to the point that I'm living my entire family in a travel trailer anywhere we set our feet down in North America, and relying on my online income to facilitate that. And that was never a sure thing. Talk about jumping off a diving board. That was like a desperation move. But here we are now. I'm about to end a podcast with a cool black belt and a kick-ass purple belt who I got to meet down in Alabama. And I'm sitting in South Carolina on Myrtle Beach about to take my kids down to the Atlantic Ocean. Like, none of that stuff was even on my radar a couple of years ago. So roll with the punches, guys, and it's never over until you decide. It's up to you how far this life goes, and don't let anybody tell you different.
Hell yeah. Anything before we let him roll out?
No, I sat there and learned. I need to absorb. I'll probably be hitting you up in your DMs about some questions on some stuff. But
yeah.
Anytime, Isaac.
Dude, thank you again so much, Drew, for that. And again, I'll probably be doing more of the same. I'll probably just do it by proxy through Isaac. He's my NFT interpreter. He speaks to me in NFT. So we're definitely going to stay in that, and looking forward to be involved in more of it, as it goes on down the road with the other projects with, Kent Zombies and the Caesar and then the PGF stuff or whatever. And again, like I said, just kind of looking to see how this may work for us. If there's anything that could turn into it from a perspective, the dream show. We have tournaments, we have camps, we have different things that are going on. So I'm sure there's a thing that we could work out together, and if that can make things work out for us too. So I'm really excited to just watch it and keep learning, man. So again, thank you so much.
My pleasure, man. Take that dive, Steven.
All right, brother. Have a good day, man.
Okay, take care.
So what all did you learn, Steven? New stuff?
I think so. It's kind of that thing, like when you go to a seminar somewhere and you hear the guy say something that you've already heard before a little bit too, but it kind of affirms that you're going down the right path.
I heard him say a bunch of the stuff that I know I've said to you.
Right.
It's that experience.
Some of it you said to me, and then it's like, all right, I go read about it a little bit and I think about it, and then it's like, okay, cool. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. And then I think about the personal ideas that I've kind of had, and we talked about a little bit of those things of how the utility side would work for me, or something that I'm dealing with or whatever. But I really appreciate the idea that he was presenting too, of the small nature of it, even though it can be big in a grand scheme, like everything, the small nature of how you start it with, just of 100 and something thousand people. He only had 200 people that were committed in the beginning to help get it started.
Well, and there's the concept too that I can't remember who says this, so I'm not even going to try to say his name, but I know there's a guy out there that talks about like the 1,000 true followers.
That's Brandon McCatherine.
Well, yeah, but that's another guy. It's another guy that says it. Yes. But like there's the 1,000 true followers. Well, it's not even anymore. You don't need 1,000.
Yeah, you don't really.
You need 150.
Couple hundred.
100 of your homies. 50. You can get, it's co-oping. My dad, I grew up listening to my dad talk about the co-op principles. And if you're ever curious about
bunch of hippies,
you can look into it's people think hippies when they say co-op, but like what I'm talking about is the power industry did the cooperatives, and also the farming industry, where the farmers couldn't get electricity because there were investor-owned utilities, and it wasn't worth it to them because it would be a net zero for them to do it. So they formed a company that was built by the members that created a way to get power to places. And it was, the point of the company is to be a net zero. The point is to not, and I probably messed that up. I'm sorry, Dad. But like, it's an actual community thing. And so like you can pay people can have jobs, people can have all that. And it doesn't have to be that thing that make people feel dirty and feel like that.
Right. And that's the thing, is like, how do you, and this is kind of, I guess, for me a little bit too, is like soliciting money for things that you're doing, for content that you create, for ideas that you have that are not something that somebody can take with them and hold it per se, but it's an experience, or it's like an event or whatever kind of thing, like a ticket. That makes a lot of sense. The ticket thing, that's one that really is really resonating a lot. And then like building like online mini courses and things like that, those are good. That that could be, again, the dollar idea for NFTs or whatever. And if you had just a couple hundred of them for $1 each or whatever, 1,000 or whatever, and then everybody gets a mini course. Or then there are a couple rare ones that have like a ticket to the camp that's always attached to it in Costa Rica.
Everything will be an NFT because everything will have a smart contract.
That's what I'm saying. So like, but that's what I mean, is like you could start it as small as something like that,
right? And
then, but you've already made the art,
right? And
so the access to it is in the way of a instructional is not the same as like a painting or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like if I bought a painting, I would like to have that physically to put in somewhere on my wall or whatever to look at that. You know what I mean? It's not the same thing as like a ticket kind of deal, I guess.
Well, and then that's where you're talking about value. You're talking about art value.
Well, at least like if you transfer it, you at least get this mini course, which is valued up to 20 or 30, 40, 50 bucks or whatever. And so you've only paid 15 bucks for it after it's flipped a couple times.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So maybe you got your $1, you got to watch it. You sold it for $2 or $5 or whatever. So now you profited off of it and the other person's still getting a good deal too.
Yeah, I could see where like an exclusive one that would be like Marcelo's, like one of his specific things, and be like, okay, this one is a rare version and you could do that. Yeah, I get what you're saying there.
Or even just have a general one that's like on the common side
There's
of
a
it.
common
like
scale.
Everybody can get access to this, like there's 100 accesses to this or whatever, and it comes only through this. I don't know, that's it. It's just weird to think about it. And not weird, but like interesting to think about some of the possibilities and the way that it could go.
Wallow said that he learned that Elijah needs an NFT that'll grant him lifetime Facebook access. That way he doesn't get banned.
Nope, not gonna happen.
I don't think that. I don't think old Zuckerberg is selling.
Don't have enough money on that. Can't afford that. You got to be like the kind of people that'll make us.
What he can do is join the Discord and come in there and conversate in the Discord, because the commish is the ultimate say in that one.
Nope. Taking all Elijah's NFTs.
You're gonna buy them up?
I'm taking them.
Oh.
Go in, I'm gonna like just take them. I don't even know. I'm gonna go into his internet and I'm gonna take them out of his phone.
You've been training in the metaverse.
Yeah.
You had a boxing experience, did you not?
I did.
How'd that go?
I was amazing. I was incredible. I was so good. I was like, dude, I can't believe how good I was at that stuff. I hadn't boxed in years, but I knocked out Apollo Creed. And, it was a tough fight. I got to admit, I think if I could
run back from the netherworlds a couple times.
I didn't really, yeah. I got knocked down a few times and I didn't realize that the joystick when I was punching, I was like hitting the thumbstick a little bit and that was making me spin on the screen in my
that
visuals.
Explained why you kept
And I was like,
turning.
yeah, how does it keep getting behind me? And then after like a little bit, Keelan explained the thumb thing. And I was like, oh, and then as soon as he said that to me, I knocked him out in like 2 minutes because he quit getting behind me. So I was like,
funny how that works.
Yeah.
Expose your back.
Yeah, don't do that. That's. And so I was really like, there's a few, I was disoriented, It's kind of like, it was really fun. Honestly, I was surprised at how fun it was, to play it like that. Obviously would need to take some more time to play it a little bit to understand how like it actually works. Cause I only did like 1.5 fight because it shut down on me one time, I think. But yeah, it was super, like that's it. It's super fun. So I'm going to Elijah's house, right in the metaverse, ripping all the NFTs down. I'm the real bad guy.
Bobby Boff of Em.
That's right. That's right, son. I'm coming for all the stuff.
Speaking of Bobby Boff of Em and making money this weekend, there's gonna be somebody's gonna make some money. Somebody's gonna make $2,000.
We're gonna give away $2,000 to a purple belt or under that could weigh up to as much as they want to.
Whatever.
Dude.
Eat them Big Macs.
So I don't. This is the thing now. Like I've never been in charge of something like this before, where it's kind of like, how do you do this? Like, I have been in charge of all the Mid-South, so I don't want to say that, but like, so far I've always done like a randomizer. Like I'll put the guys, like I'll just a fake seating of my own, like 1 through 8, or it's gonna be 16 this time. So I would just put the names, probably how they registered, on a list, and then I would randomize it, and then that would be the seeds, and that would make the bracket. And the only thing I would change would be if like in-house teammates matched up in the first round or something like that. That would be the only thing I would switch. So it was completely random. So if the best 2 guys met in the first round, I didn't seed it to where I was like, okay, I think this is the best guy. This is the second best guy. I don't want them to match up into the finals kind of deal. Well, in this one, there's at least 2 guys that are over 280 pounds. And there's at least 3 or 4 guys that are under 180 pounds. So there's a couple like really big dudes, and then there's a handful of guys that are all smaller. And so the randomizer may put somebody in there against, one of the 280 dudes right away, or one of the 300 dudes right away, and they're only like 170.
Wait, there's somebody who's 300?
Yes.
Nice.
That's what he told me today. When I asked
Beefy.
I said, send me your info here, guy. How much tall are you? How much your age is and all that kind of stuff. and give me a tail of the tape. You know what I'm saying? He's like, I'm 300. I was like, oh, I didn't realize that, son. I'm glad I'm not in there.
This man knows where the beef is.
So yeah, we're going to have to be like on our game in there, and it's going to be a tussle for some of these guys, but at
Does
the
the
same
wall
time,
stay in play?
Yeah, I think we're going to keep the wall in play. We just have to keep people out of the corners.
Yeah.
And not the Papa John's wall. You can't run into that wall.
Yeah, we can't not be big guys knocking through the Papa John's
literally
wall.
Go into the Papa John's if we're not too careful with some of all that weight. But we're going to have a little extra mat space kinda ish than from where we had before, because instead of pulling that one row of mats out where we had the table or whatever, we're going to take those mats out and put them along the edge to hopefully give that little bit more depth on the mats. So yeah, this will be probably the last one that we do inside the gym there, based on the size of it and everything. And if we want to make it any bigger than we are, we need to get a little bit bigger location, just at least to host it. If we want to do any more, like, cause at 16 people with a coach, that's about the space. A lot of people. That's about the space that we have to make it comfortable. And I don't want to make it super uncomfortable. And so we don't have any crowd. There's no tickets and stuff for sale. You can't buy a ticket. And so
you can watch it here.
You can watch it here
on YouTube.
BJJ 365. My YouTube channel, we're going to be simulcasting it. I'll be obviously on there doing things. I may be funny. I may be stressed out, but that may make me more funny. I don't know.
We just won't turn the cameras off.
Yeah, we'll just see what happens, man. I'm getting more and more comfortable in the role of whatever happens is how it goes. And like, you just got to live that role as it's going down. And if the ship's like on fire, it's like, I want to swim, you know? So just there should be no problems, obviously, but I just, you know, any event you get a little crazy as it starts rolling and things happen. We've burned through the replacements that we had early. I had 4 or 5 guys.
We had a deep waiting list, and that was quick. It was like
so boom, boom. People sick, hurt, sick. Replacement was out. So
stay healthy if you're on the list.
Yeah, and if you want to come hang out, you might get a match, or like you might get in the tournament that day. If you so hit me up if you want to be a idea of a replacement or whatever. We might happen to need a guy, which is crazy.
Things happen, man.
I mean, people are dropping out, and people aren't always up to what they think, and as the time draws near, and so something that hurts a little bit starts hurting a lot when
people don't finish tournaments.
When your heart starts getting involved in it, your ankle, wrist, neck hurts a lot more than it did before. When you think about somebody gonna maybe put it on you and you can't handle that fact, you know. So I think some of it's that. I'm not saying that's the case with everybody. Definitely people get injured. Definitely things happen. Yeah, for sure. That's what I'm saying. But there's definitely
that's why we had a big reserve list.
People get in their head and convince themselves that the monster's the other person, when in reality, you got to convince yourself that you're the monster. Like, they got to be afraid of you no matter what. Even if they're better, even if you're going to do these kind of things, you got to just know you're the one no matter what. And that's kind of hard for people. And that's why we're doing the tournament, though, is to get those reps in a pressure environment. But it's not that big of a stage per se. Like, you're not, you know what I mean? Like, there's money on the line or whatever, but it's not like this huge crowd or what, you know what I mean? It's still kind of low key at this point. So you can get the competition reps without having to deal with a crowd or any of that kind of stuff. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see how it's going to grow from this one to the next one, because we've already leveled up like our production value of the way that we do a little bit of the stuff.
From 1 to 3 is a big growth.
Is it 6?
No, this is 5. Is it not? Or is this 6?
I don't know. You had a Roman numeral on the last rash guard.
Well, that was 4.
Okay. Well, that was the last one.
That was the last one, so we're at 5.
This is number 5.
Yeah. That's you just gave me a heart attack, because I was like, I think I've been saying 5 the whole time.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just the Mid-South Classic. It's one of them.
That were both of them?
It's one of them. Now we all 5 of them. But yeah, traditional EBI rules, 10-minute regulation. 3 overtimes, potentially maximum ride time 2 minutes. We're gonna leave the wall in play for the most part. No stalling. I'll be the one that calls like warnings and stalling calls like that. We're gonna try to implement the extra minute and overtime rule. If I feel like you're trying to purposely ride it out to overtime, I'll give you a couple little pats on the butt to get you moving or whatever and stuff like that. Because the last thing I want to do is jeopardize, or cost somebody a match or whatever. But at the same time, nobody wants to see that for 10 minutes at a time just to get to overtime, or whatever. That's not really the application or whatever that we're looking at. So we're looking, to keep the action moving. And at the same time, that's not me telling you, I don't want to see somebody get themselves submitted just to advance the action. Like if you're in a bad spot, chill. It's okay to kind of wait out a little bit of a spot or whatever. But then at the same time, after you've both kind of sat in this one spot for ever,
he can't move, you can't move, and you're the one controlling that scenario.
Somebody's got to move, man. And
stalling.
So, it's like now you're stalling it out, and you're not going to get this, and he knows he's not going to get this. So,
what about somebody playing
progress?
Somebody trying to like stall out at the perimeter, or do you want to see
on the edge of the mats? You mean to say, or
like on the like if they just don't engage, like
that's what I'm saying. No, like that's what I'm saying. It's like if it's too much, then I'm gonna too much
avoiding.
I don't have a specific criteria that I'm gonna set, because I think I'm gonna be pretty chill with people. Like I want to give, like I say,
play your game.
Yeah, I want to let you do, and I understand. Like I'm the guy.
It's a way to win.
That's what I do. I'm the technique guy that talks about wearing them down and using that if you have to as a way or whatever and stuff. So like, I think I know what I'm looking at, right? And I know what it looks like when you're stalling and when you're also just having to work and it's not quite going the way that you need it to go and you can't do the thing yet. There's a difference, and maybe not to everybody, but I guess I've been in there enough times that I know when I was stalling and I know when I was actively pushing forward and it looked the same to the outside world.
But there's body language and things.
As a professional, you know how to cut the ring off or whatever, so to say. I know how to play the angles to make it look a certain way to the optics and not give up anything.
And really take a breath.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the whole point. Is like you want to keep that poker face or that dead stare, 10,000 mile stare the whole time if you can. You don't want them to see you flustered or emotional or whatever. You know what I mean? So, we want to see the action. And then at the same time, it's going to be rough for some people. It's going to be a rough day.
It's going to be a long day.
We got some we'ks. We got people coming. We have a couple of medics there. So making sure
I worked on an ambulance for a couple of years.
Yeah. But we got real people coming.
Yeah. I think the same thing if I've been down to work on you too.
But we're hoping for everybody to be healthy, have a great time. Somebody's going to pay their rent plus probably, which is really, really incredible. I don't know. It's $2,000 is one of the bigger purses, I think.
It's more than what I know some MMA fighters make.
Well, for a lot of like jiu-jitsu tournaments and stuff like that. So I think that'll be something that we can keep going forward with and get more growth. Like more athletes will be interested in that because you can travel and pay for a little bit of travel and still make money off of that. But like at $1,000, if you had to travel, it's not really that valuable to go win it for the money. So like, unless you just want to go win,
potentially go get broke off. Yeah.
Right. But with the 2K, it's like, all right, it's worth the risk. Cause then if I win, I can also still clear X amount of money, and you're right. Professional MMA fighters, a lot of them don't make that much money. And a lot of them don't make that much money for several fights and maybe ever, depending on how far
500
they go.
500 is really common.
That's pretty standard for a lower level beginning kind of fight.
That's what I mean. Like first 3 pros, like
that's what I'm saying. It's like if you can get 1,000, people are really, really happy.
That's all right. Yeah, I make 1,000,
but you got to win to get the
2.
Yeah, right. So
same dilemma you're in to come win the Mid-South though. Like you got to win to make the 2. But also with the production value, I think both the PGF and like the things that we're doing here, the stuff that Eddie's done with the invitationals and stuff, like the production value that you put around it helps the guys win, lose, draw, whatever. Because if you're trying to do this professionally, you've got to get people familiar with your name.
Right.
And if you're not doing that and the people that you're coordinating with, like how many times did you fight for, legit promotions and there's no video of your fight? Y'all aren't even filming it. Nobody has a cell phone footage, anything like that's another added value that I think that a lot
they
of
don't care though. That's the biggest thing about a lot of that stuff is the MMA promoter probably doesn't care that much about the individual athlete. And not that I care about each person as, you know, that much, because I don't know them individually or whatever, but I don't have it to where I'm like, all right, man, you've never heard me be like, all right, man, we got to find 3 or 4 guys to get served up for the show.
Right.
Like, it's like, no, man, I don't care who wins. I don't care if it's somebody from another team or whatever. I want to see the people win.
Good jiu-jitsu.
Let's run it.
Yeah.
Run it. I want to see the best guy cream rise to the top. You know what I mean? And I think that's the thing. As long as we keep, and I think it's the same thing we said about Costa Rica a few months ago. And I think it's like kind of been a mantra in a lot of ways, but like, as long as I keep it real, man, then it's going to be fine. Like, as long as I keep it real with myself, it'll be fine. But if it turns into like a cash grab or trying to like gain too much clout or something like that in my mind, or my ego gets too inflated by any of these successes or whatever, and I start acting differently or whatever, then it's just going to turn to shit. And it doesn't really matter. So it's got to be real. It's got to be like the real feeling of it. And so I don't like, there probably are some people that are going to get dunked on or whatever, but it's not going to be because I wanted like somebody to get dunked on us, because they put their name in the hat and they're going to get served.
Well, and the people are that good. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. It's like, I don't know who it is. That's what I'm saying. I don't know who's who, maybe, but the matchup is what's going to determine that. And it could happen, you know, and that's part of it though, is like, you got to go out there and do that and see that, you know, like, show up even when the bracket doesn't look favorable for you. Show up even if there's a guy in the bracket that you know's tapped you out a few times. Show up even if there's a guy in the bracket that you've never beaten, because guess what? You may be able to beat him this time
on that day.
Or so or just don't believe in yourself and just stay home. You know what I mean? Like, you got to show up and run it every single time. That was always my prerogative or my perspective on it. If the guy could beat me, it's like, man, I hope I can find that match again. Like, I'm trying to find that matchup again. I don't mind. There you go. Okay, cool. Oh, he's going to be in this bracket. I hope they put him as my first match. Like, one of the big tournaments we did, like my first time doing ADCC trials, I went against Jesse Ray Childry. Really tough. He's a black belt now. He was a brown belt then. Really tough guy. I wasn't super familiar with him because I was still really heavy into MMA and stuff and wasn't doing only jiu-jitsu, but still training a lot, but not in the scene the same way. And he got a Kimura on me from top half relatively quickly, because I wasn't taking it as seriously as I should have in some ways or whatever. Because I was still doing MMA, and it was always like, oh, you know, it's just jiu-jitsu, man. It's not fighting. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I'm not getting punched in the face. So
right. But it was at the same time that was running out though. Like, it was after my last fight had happened.
You were on that transition.
I didn't know that my last fight had happened. I was going to the last fight that I ever had scheduled was scheduled like 3 weeks after this. And so I was doing this like, and if I blow this up, cool, man, dope. I'm going to just go all in on that after this fight. But if I got caught, I'm going to do my best to not get caught and fight out or whatever. But he had a good Kimura that I was like, all right, I don't want to tweak my shoulder. And
got
so
something coming up.
I gave it to him. Like, not like I gave it to him like, here's a gift. It was like, I gave him the respect of like, hey, you might hurt me.
I'm caught.
There you go. It's like, yeah, all right. It's like, I'm going to give this like, oh, respect. Like, I don't want to hurt myself. And so then that fight got canceled and different stuff like that. And man, I just wanted that match back then after that point. Cause I was always like, man, I wish I would have, like, as stupid as it sounds, like I tell you guys all the time, I was like, man, I wish I would have just let him like pop my arm or something. Now,
just so I could feel
just like so I could say that I did, like I gave 100% of the effort or whatever, or more effort or whatever kind of stuff like that. And he had me, no big deal or whatever, but just like just looking for something to lean back on as that competitor athlete guy. And then Boogie was doing the Ultimate Mat Warriors tournament, which is basically Mid-South. He's doing them in a church. They were renting, basically like Brandon does in a way. They would rent out this church. They had a place to put the mats down. And he finally did the heavyweights. And I was still a brown belt at this point too. And he told me, like, I knew Jesse Ray was going to be in it. And so like, he was like, he put us on the same side of the bracket, but I wanted him first, but he wouldn't do it. And he was like, no, you guys need to be like later on or whatever. And it's like, no, I want to go fresh. Like, I want to be fresh against him.
I don't want to have anything in between it. Like, no excuse.
Yeah, I want to go. And like, if he beats me again, and I don't care, you know, and if he don't, then that's what's up. Cause like that night I was as prepared as ever, and I didn't think anybody on that card was going to beat me. Like literally nobody that night was going to be able to beat me. Like, so I it didn't matter to me, the order. It didn't matter what. I was going to beat the top guy, and then I would just go down if that was the case. And he ended up winning the whole thing. He got me in a leg entanglement. We rolled out, and they reset us in a less than favorable like position for myself, but that was what they said they were going to do if he rolled out, you know. But and so he got to go. I let him pop my ankle that time because I was like trying to like get out of it or whatever, you know. I was like, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna get out. Well, I'm going this time. It's like I'm gonna win this tournament. This is the tournament that I have to win. This I'm gonna beat him because I was doing well until that happened, you know. And so if I would have beat him, there was one more tough match, you know. It was a 16-man tournament, but I wanted him first. Like I didn't want to wait. Now I've thought more about trying to build up matches over the course of the day. Because I do better second or third match a lot of times because the nerves are shot. Like they're shaking off. I mean to say, I've already gotten loose a little bit. I've been hit a couple of times or whatever. You know what I mean? Just kind of the shock's over. So like you're in the groove of it. So there's, you know, again, there's no like guarantee that either thing happens, you know, because sometimes you just start cold. But I like having the toughest guy first. I want to go out there and like swing swords with the best guy right away.
Because that's why you're there.
It's always been my detriment too, right? I think that's one of the things that always like worked against me in a record sense, you know.
Yeah, you don't want the tomato can that'll make you look good. Like you don't want the showy fight.
Right.
You
I want to win.
Yeah.
Like I want to win, but I want to earn it. Like I want to know that it was like not given.
And just steamroll that guy.
It's not a fight if the other guy doesn't have a chance.
So like the hunter.
Right. Right. I mean, it's that's the thing is that it's not even a fight anymore. And there was a time where there's people on my record for sure that looking back, it's like, oh yeah, that was a squash match.
Probably not a guy.
But in that moment, I didn't know. Or I'm talking about like I was just way better than some of those guys.
Right.
Like, I didn't know. I didn't know that I was going to blitz them though.
You thought that
they were on my level at that time. I thought we thought
paper,
right? At least from what it looked like. But I was way more prepared and professional or whatever at that night than they would be, and I just buzzed them. And I was like, looking back now, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, they were working that Saturday before they came in to fight. I didn't. I rested. I stayed in. I got, you know what I mean? Like, so I treated it like a professional as much as I possibly could, even when nobody else kind of around me was.
It's pretty rare in the amateur ranks and the like
the low pros, right? That's what I'm saying. Is like, so like people were like, just the mindset was different back then. And you know what I mean too, being in the local scene and stuff. And it's not that much different once you get up to the higher levels, but it's still the same. You know, it's just fighting's different, man. It's just
what sets the like top levels, the ones that are like the athletes apart, are the ones that treat it like as a pro athlete. The ones that treat it the same way that the old fighters have always treated it, that you're talking about, that, you know, come in and put their cigarette butt out and wrap up their hands. Like you just can't.
It don't make
it's not the same.
Yeah, it's not going to work anymore. Not to a high level.
Just being a tough dude at a high level is not.
That's what I'm saying. So like you can be the king of your little small town, like
tough guy
joint or whatever, and things like that. But then you get the call up to the big show and you've never actually been pushed. It's over. Like that break is almost unrecoverable.
Because that guy that treats it as a pro athlete, that acts like a pro athlete, guess what? He's tough too.
Yeah, he's ready.
He's the hometown hero somewhere like, too.
Everybody's tough. That's a prerequisite. Like that's the thing. Like everybody to get to that point, you should have to be like, period.
For me on the PGF, that was what was interesting, was like feeling that, because like I've never really felt that high of a level of like,
consistently
not like everyone you touch that you're like, oh yeah, you could be a mid-level, if not high-level pro in any part of this sport. All of them that were in there. It's like, that's a little bit different to deal with. Maybe your technique should be flawless too. Yeah,
right. It's exactly. It matters. It matters a lot more when the other people are good too.
Right.
And that's what, and this is why dudes hide in their gym. That's why coaches hide in their school. That's why they don't come out. That's why they don't compete. That's why
they don't want to run across that guy.
They don't want to roll hard with somebody that's another belt or whatever, and they're afraid of that thing. It's the same thing, and it's the MMA thing where these guys are 10-0 against 0-5 guys or whatever. It's the same thing. Like, you're making your name out here, quote, whatever, but you're just beating up your own students. You're only beating up your own white belts and stuff like that. You're a legend in your own mind, but if anybody challenges you or pokes a tiny hole in that balloon's going to deflate like so fast, and you're going to shrink, and people can't handle that, bro. I've seen that a lot. And that's something that's been weird to me. Like, people I thought that were really tough mentally or whatever, like when the chips come down in that kind of way, where it's like, hey, you might lose this guy. Oh,
what's that going to feel like?
I don't know about that then. I don't want to take that match. Like, they won't say it to your face then, but they'll come back in a couple of days or in a week or whatever and be like, there's a very valid reason why I can't do this, that you can't argue with this reasoning. You know what I mean? It's like, all right, man, your grandma's dead and it was at your house or whatever. It's like, you know, your car got blown up while you were in it, you know, so I get it.
Oh, man, you see guys like in the MMA world, guys that'll bounce after weigh-ins.
Yeah, that's
like,
what I mean.
Like, they sit there and it sets in like, oh, and then they just don't show up the next day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's the thing. It's a thing. And it's a thing that I've been like a part of, I guess, for a while. Like, cause I was teaching as a blue belt. Like, I was the head jiu-jitsu dude at a school as a blue belt. And I roll my eyes now because I know how trash I was in every kind of way. But I was the kind of best guy that we had at the time. So it was like making the best of the moment.
Well, and to the blue belts out there too, like sharing your love for it and giving people and facilitating
it kept other people going.
Was enough. Like, you don't have to be, you know, one of the Gracies to share jiu-jitsu.
And like there's still guys from that era now that are still some of my favorite people that I still talk to, and they still hit me up.
Deep in the game.
And now that I'm back, you know, back over here in the area, we're reconnecting in various ways and stuff like that, and it's becoming really cool now because I believe in myself the way that they always have believed in me, you know, at that time. And that was the thing, treating it that way. And as a blue belt, I didn't care. As a purple, I didn't care. I would run it. Like, I don't care. Like, and if you can beat me, then that's cool. Like, that's good for you. And that's not bad for me necessarily. And, you know, unless I really hate you. And you know what I mean? And there's not.
And if I hate you, why are we competing?
We're not.
Why are we?
We're not. That's what I'm saying.
That's a different thing.
That's a whole, it's a whole nother thing. That's what I'm saying.
If it's a fight and it's a hate fight, and which it's going to take a lot for that. But yeah.
And so like there's that whole thing, and guys are too fragile in their own heart to lose a training round or to not perform well in a training round on a Wednesday in front of their students, you know, or whatever, because their student may think that they're not the jiu-jitsu god. And it's like, well, you're not the jiu-jitsu. There's no one is. There is not one. No one is. Everyone has flaws. Everyone has holes. Everybody has preferences that can get them beaten. Everybody, you know what I mean? Everybody learned what they know from somebody else. It's nobody here is like creating these things that, like, there's obviously things that have been kind of created or whatever,
painting outside the lines, but I don't think it's
that's what I mean. It's like it's all the same thing still. Like,
you're still a piece of paper that the lines are
trying to break the arm or shoulder, choke, whatever, you know what I mean? It's all the same stuff.
Humans have been trying to dismantle each other forever, right?
For sure. And so then why hide? Why would you hide yourself? Why do you shrink when you become a quote leader? Why do people do that? I don't know where we got on this tangent, but like,
why do they hide in their gyms? Like
why do these guys do that? Why do people do that? Why do you think that is?
I mean, it's an ego thing.
Like, they won't even cross train or whatever when they know it's a tough room. They'll go somewhere they know they can beat up on the other people. Like, they'll go to a subordinate gym and cross train, but they won't go to a room where they can't be the top dog.
Well, I mean, like, does that, I mean, I think I understand where they're coming from. Like, does that swell up on you ever? Like, when you're sitting there and it's I don't know. I mean, when you're going to go be the nail and maybe you think you're the hammer, like that's a tough bridge to cross. Now, me personally, right. I've had the type of life.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
I've never just straight up been a hammer in my life. As far as
it's fun.
I mean, look,
I'm joking. I've got JK. Everybody, I love Isaac. We're best buddies.
I've got my wins, but like in like for me too, I had to realize when I started getting decent at jiu-jitsu and being at open mats and stuff that I look like this scraggly, scary guy. Like, so guys would come at me hard. So like I got used to like everybody trying to dunk on me, and then I realized that like I just look scary, and so like I try to be super talkative and happy during open mats so that people don't like think that I'm out there trying to kill them. But I mean, the feeling that you get when, say, the 17-year-old blue belt or purple belt that's been training since he, could walk, catches you in like his trick move. I mean, my first, I lost to him on the metaverse, so it doesn't even matter about this one, of Noah. The first time I ever rolled against Noah was in the gym, and I'd heard people talk about his like ninja choke and that like he was really strong and like really quiet. I was like, yeah, cool. I like slap bump with him, and I was rolling with him. That fool, this was probably the second time we ever exchanged, and he slapped that on me in a weird situation, and I was like, huh, he's got no arms in there. All right, squeeze my head as hard as you want. I woke back up and I was like in like butterfly guard again with him and kind of like doing the shake thing. And I was like, he didn't even realize I put him to sleep, or that he put me to sleep. And we finished the roll and all that. But what I'm getting at is most people, that would demolish them that a 17-year-old like killed them. Mm-hmm. But it's like, yo, man, like you did that really good. Do you know that worked? Like, okay, cool. Like, tell Brandon about it and like figure out some other things. Like, I don't think that that's the normal thought path for people, because that's not where my head immediately goes. It's like, oh God, how did he do that? What he can't do. But like, really the thing is to like help him grow and help him get better at that. And I think people hide from that.
That's what I'm saying. We're talking, I mean, it's training at that point. Right. And so I guess I could see where you wouldn't want to go out and compete maybe against people like that. If you're whatever, I still don't know. I don't care.
I still like, why not lose to him at like, see what he feels like at full speed? That's me.
Me too. That's what I say. I don't know either, unless you're hurt or like legitimately something like that. There's no reason, unless you just don't want to, whatever, but there's a reason you don't want to.
Wallow said that he has such little ego that he has been tapped by a 115-pound chick and it doesn't even bother him.
Well, this is the thing. Is like, I've been tapped out in training by guys that I know I'm better than, because I'm training. They're practicing. I think they're practicing. They may be practicing trying to get taps.
Some people are.
And I'm practicing whatever I'm practicing. And sometimes what I'm practicing allows them to submit me. I'm very rarely practicing don't put yourself in a bad position ever. That's never my practice now. It's rarely. That's, you know what I mean? So that's the thing. If you're the black belt, like I like these young guys that are the competitors or whatever. I like them to come over and just like, do your thing, man. Show me what it is. And if they get me, then it's like, oh, that's pretty cool. But if they don't, and it's like, a little bit overrated there, fella. You know what I mean? Because
you almost had it. Here's a tweak here and here, and now try it.
Well, I show them probably the thing that they're missing on the other people that they're beating it on. You know what I mean? And if they get it right, then they may beat me too.
This is how you train a black belt. Yeah.
In your training room. You know what I mean? Now, if we were in a tournament or a real competition setting, I probably wouldn't let things go as far as I would. That doesn't mean they may not go to something. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't mean that they wouldn't go somewhere else and tap me out or whatever, but we would just change the scenarios.
But in the training room too, though, isn't that like you're finding where's that line? How do I trick you to let me do that?
What can I do to twist? Can I lean this way? If I put my foot, if I twist your body, if I make you think.
So that's how you learn it inside and out too.
Yeah,
where like if you're in it, I can undo it. And that's the black belt stuff.
Exactly.
Like, I know what you want, so I'm going to keep flicking it over right when you're about to get it. Like
you're a half inch short every time. And then that gets frustrating. And then you bail altogether and now I got you.
It's like, haha, I get to do my thing.
Or you stay tight and you believe in your game and eventually it breaks through or something and you get the thing. And it's like, hey, nice work, man. Most people don't get that. You know what I mean? Because if they did, I wouldn't sit there and play that way. You know what I mean? So I was like, that's good, man. That's good stuff. And I just don't know if that's the case. And that there's a thing like if somebody's coming in, I guess, and we're like, hey, I want to go hard. That's different too. but I still feel the same way, even if we're going hard. Like if you get me,
That's got what me. I'm gonna ask. Like if you lose, like even if it's like, all right, well, we're at competition speed.
Yeah,
you're in a competition and then you lose.
Cool.
Like that's where I think people can't make that jump that even make the one that you're talking about of like they can lose in the training room and they can like, we're learning, but like, no, can you run it at full speed? They work their A game, you work your A game. Oh, turns out his work this time.
Good job, man.
Yeah.
Like I'm mad and I'm upset or whatever, but not enough to like hate that dude or go hide
and stop the game or stop playing or flip the game.
There is this dude, and it's not like indicative. This is why it bothered me so much. We had trained together at open mats. We had a bunch of really good training sessions before. So the situation was not what it looked like. And I knew that. And I think everybody probably would have known that too. But that night, it was just devastating. We were getting ready for, I think the last time I did ACC trials, I had got my black belt or whatever, and we were doing like the live drill training or whatever in San Diego. And Richie had this thing where we were going to do mini groups of like 4 or 5 people, weight class-ish and belt rank-ish, like put together. So my group was the bigger black belt people that were there and the bigger brown belt people that were there. You know what I mean? Like Boogie and Danny. Yeah, there's just a few, like some big, stronger dudes that are tough.
Version of Beef Alley.
And they know my game too. And we know each other's game, right? But it's the name of the game is to go hard and go fast today. And everybody was getting like a mini Shark Tank, basically. So it would be like, Steven, you're on the bottom first. Everybody's going to try to pass your guard. As soon as Isaac passed,
next guy,
Boogie's stepping in right away. So you got to turn and face. There's no rule about how to connect or how they have to let you connect. They're just trying to pass your guard, and you have to not let them, and you have to sweep them and get on top. The first night that we did this was a few weeks before trials, and we'd never done this style of like workout. And this dude, I can't remember his real name, but they called him Moose, and he had won Nogi Worlds or something like that at black belt. So he's like a stud. And that's saying we'd had some really tough rolls before, so we knew where we stacked up with each other in the grander scheme of everything. But I had went hard 2 rounds or whatever really quick with my guard, and then he came in and we had a battle. And then like, I don't know how many seconds into it or whatever, I literally just like lost my breath. And I couldn't catch it. And I had to like tap to like hyperventilating or whatever to, I don't even like,
just the stress.
Looking back, it was anxiety.
Yeah.
Because I was putting so much pressure on myself for that tournament. And he was in our group, and I had just done well twice, and I needed to sweep him because I was going to prove that I was going to be the man at ADCC trials. And he went back and forth and back and forth. And then I was tired, and I'd done spent all my energy. I didn't have anything left. I couldn't recover. He wouldn't let me recover. I couldn't give up.
You're in the middle of a training week. So like all that added on.
Yeah. I'd already done conditioning that morning. I'd already done like, but none of that matters in that moment.
Right.
Right. And so I had to run off the mats and like spray water on my face or whatever. And like come back in after a few minutes and tried to finish the class, man. And like I did, like quietly, but then ran to the office and like cried immediately after class to Gabe and was just like, bro, it's all falling apart, man. It's all falling apart. Like, I don't know. And then he was like, dude, no. And then all the things I just said to you, all the qualifiers, and I was like, but none of that matters today,
It's just this one thing.
And so that like, I've done that enough times. And I know, kind of like we were saying with Drew, that's the way. This is the way forward. It's like I was not hurt. I was damaged emotionally,
right?
But it was personal. It was like my own feeling. Nobody else felt the way I felt about that situation.
Exactly.
I'm the only one, and I'm the reason. My personal feelings are the reason that happened altogether. So the monster again that I was creating of the situation of who I needed to be. I'm Richie's black belt. I just got this black belt. Now I got to represent. I'm the heavyweight like representative when black belts show up or whatever. And then just like blow it myself because I spazzed out or whatever. And then had to like run off the mat and like quit to nothing, was like really hard, really, really hard. But we did it the next week, came back, best training of the whole camp was that next Monday night in the week, the whole week leading up to it.
Because you dealt with it, crossed the bridge.
My mind was sharp after that. I came back. I didn't like dominate the training because there's no way to in that setting.
Get the training. Don't try to win
right. Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's like I needed to work what I needed to work, the game plans I was trying to play, and not just gotta beat everybody.
Gotta win.
I can't lose 1 inch of anything.
Taps.
Yeah. If anybody passes my guard, my self-worth is 0.
Yeah.
That kind of deal. And that's what people are doing. You have your self-worth
tied up in every gym win.
Nobody can tap me out because this is my school. And if anybody beats me, they might as well be the school owner.
This is my game.
It's like, no, dude, that's not it's training. It's practice. If you're out here playing basketball and you're going like a little training with your guy one-on-one, he shoots a jumper over your head one time or whatever. It's just like, okay, cool, man. Next time I'll like step forward a little faster or something like that.
Playing the game.
Maybe
that would be like quitting the whole game.
Put my hand in front of your face or whatever. You know what I mean? Try something different. Like he's too good at this move. Oh, damn, he took a step back. My God. You know what I mean? It's like, they can't play with this guy. He moves 2 directions. You know what I mean?
Oh, no, he cut down the baseline. He can run.
Right.
Turns out.
So that's the thing. People are afraid, and they're afraid of being exposed to themselves, I guess, in a way, because they crafted those characters.
I never even dealt with that.
They haven't. That's what I'm saying. That's what I mean. It's like they did enough just to get to that black belt level in somewhere, and that got them what they wanted. That was it. That's all
they might have come out of the box with the talent and with all the stuff to get them through whatever.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, for sure. That could be that guy too, right? Yeah. Well, when you run out of that, and that's what I tell people too all the time. You hear me say in the room is like, well, yeah, you're the athlete guy now, but when you're 40, what about when you come in?
Yeah.
What about when you come into you in 40 years? You're not going to be this guy anymore. That guy's going to be you, and you're going to have to know how to beat you then. And it's not going to be the way you're handling me now.
Right.
Like Jamie this morning, we went pretty hard. And I'm having to tell him, like, dude, I need you to do it. Like, I need you to try to beat me. Like, and if you can tap me out, that's cool. Like, he takes me down, and I'm trying to not let him. Like, he holds me down sometimes, and I can't get up very easily. I have to work very hard to get it going, but I still can trick him because I'm smarter right now. If he would put the time in over X number of years or whatever to stay,
harder and harder,
and my tricks won't work because I'll teach them all to him. I already am. And he'll have those as his tricks combined with his personal athleticism and things like that. And if everything goes together,
he can ride that wave
way further than anywhere I ever imagined going. You know what I mean? And so it's my duty to put him over in that way and not rob him of that experience of the realness of it. Like, I don't need to be like, oh, you're getting close to a choke. Oh, ha ha ha. Let's relax and like,
let me show you
something to make this better. It's like, dang, man, that was good. Like, he's caught me a couple of times when we were rolling. Today he got my back, and like I had to wait and like stand up with him on my back to try to like shake him off and get back on top of him, and then I pass his guard, and then that's it. A lot of times, once I finally get control of him.
Oh, that guard passing drill, I caught a good hard one from him. Like he's bro,
trying. I've been going in on the 20-somethings. All the 20-somethings that be talking about stuff. I've been bringing the hammer down on them verbally, sending them private chats with memes of themselves, trying to hit them where it counts. You know what I mean? You gotta find
the memes. You gotta speak the language of the children.
That's right. Gotta get them where it counts. You know what I mean?
How do I reach these keys?
Because with you guys, the older people or whatever, like a lot of our people, parents, professionals, 30s, not really looking to be world-class competitors. They'll compete and they'll do it well and they'll have fun. They'll go hard, but that's not really like main like priority.
Where they're headed, yeah.
Because they have other stuff that they're going to do. And then there's a couple people that kind of have some stuff that they may or may not do or whatever. But I remember being early 20s and like not really having a direction, but you were not doing anything like wrong, I guess. You're working, whatever. But like, if you have the ability to find something to work towards and grow, it's that thing that you're going to be somewhere in 10 years. You're going to be doing something.
You learn how to master one thing, you learn mastery in everything.
And that's what I'm saying. So in 10 years, you're going to be doing something. So you
Right.
might as well start showing up now and start doing this work and start working on this craft, because this will transfer over to other things more than other things that you're trying to do or not do in that free time. Especially like drinking and like partying and stuff like that. Nothing wrong with kicking back and having some fun times or whatever, but then also look at yourself in an honest way. The same way we were saying about maybe the people who are hiding. Like, if your goal is to be an elite level competitor, you have to treat yourself that way, which means you have to treat yourself different than other people. You can't live a normal lifestyle, because being an elite competitor is not normal. It's very abnormal. That's why people respect it so much. And that's why it's so
cool
rare.
Thing.
Yeah. If it was easy, they'd just be like, hey, yeah, cool, man. So it's hard. You have to give up the normal comforts of what everybody else has. These meals, that drink, this alcohol, that
holidays, time,
not sleeping,
time, family,
you gotta rest or whatever. You know what I mean? Oh man, I just need to go watch this TV. It's like, no, man, there's training today, 3 hours away, one way, but you need to go get this training in, because this is the only person or people that'll give you the look that you need, the work that you need. And that's it.
Yeah. And
so this is the thing. And I don't talk about these kind of things a ton, man, because it's like ancient history in a lot of ways to me. But again, that time when I was a blue belt down in Valdosta, I was the biggest guy in the room most of the time. And if I wasn't, I was the most skilled big guy. So even if somebody was a little more skilled than me, I was probably big enough that I could make the gap up with my size on most people. So it was hard for me to get real looks, because the smaller guys that were good would almost have to fight me to make it fair. And then it's like, man, why are you going so hard? And they're like, dude, it's you. And it's like, I'm just going to go hard too. You know what I mean? It's like, because they were going fast and I couldn't. And so it just turns into that whole thing. But we were in Valdosta, and in Tallahassee, Florida, which was a couple hours ride at least one way, was Josh Saman. He made it to the UFC after this, co-founded like the Combat Night MMA promotion that's really popular down there. Was a good friend of mine, really good friend of mine, and a savage, just straight, like just ruthless, like would just ruthless. Nobody in the area would train with me the way Josh could. And I would drive by myself 2 hours or whatever, 2.5 hours, or with Mandy. Like I took my damn girlfriend over there to watch me get my ass beat.
Why'd you just get worse?
She's holding the puke bucket for me. It's like, hey, I need some support. You got to come over here with me. You know what I mean?
Hold my hair back.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like, that's a choice.
Yeah.
I made the choice knowing this is what's going to happen today.
Every time.
Every time I go over here, I'm going to fight this man one-on-one. Like, I'm going to just the two of us are going to be in this cage.
He's going to beat me up.
And we're going to fight. And then we'll talk about it and be buddies. But it's going to hurt. And it's going to, like, he's going to probably make me puke. But I have to turn around and square back up.
Just keep going.
Because otherwise I just wasted 5 hours in a car to do this 1 hour of training. Or I could only make it like an hour at the most because of the level of training. Like, it was too hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But are people willing to do that? And I know you, like, not you, but like other people, like, that's what I'm saying. That's why I have the respect for the style of your stuff, even though whatever people can say about not being in one place or how that works is like, sometimes you don't have the luxury that everybody else has of being under one roof all the time. Your life isn't set up that way. And my life wasn't set up that way then either, if I wanted to be my best version of myself.
Yeah, I mean, that's what my stuff is.
Yeah, that's why whatever. I
could settle down and be in under one roof, but
that would not help you in your overall.
It wouldn't accomplish what I'm trying to do.
You would stunt other parts of your growth that are more important.
There's guys that train in some of the biggest cities in the world that still drive the same amount I do for training. There's guys that drive 2.5 hours, like just traffic, or that have to go ride the subway or do like that's the way I looked at it when I was like, all right, this is what I want to do. I've set aside this a lot of time of my life, and I know that there's a timestamp on that. I'm going to run it to the best of my ability, see what happens, and at the end of the day, the journey was the point. And so, like, what's a couple more hours? I've spent plenty of time driving around a company truck just to waste time because they told me to not be present. So, like, what is spending a couple hours to go do what I actually want to do?
No, and that's everything. It's been such a thing for years. Back then, man, it was such a hard thing to get people to train. Like, I was doing that a lot. Like, I would do my training in the morning. Like, this is the thing. I was trying to set this bar that didn't exist back then in the area, I think. Yeah. And there were probably a couple of guys that were doing it to themselves, but we weren't talking about it that way. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't really.
It wasn't as communal back then.
Well, it wasn't, because everybody hated each other. If you weren't it was that whole, like, you're from that other town over there. We're gonna whoop his ass.
We're gonna fight.
Yeah, you're a heavyweight. Oh, you can't train with me because I gotta show you I'm the man. Yeah, I'm the best.
Yeah. I don't want you to know my tricks.
Exactly. And so I was doing my morning training. Would work my midday gig, like 9 to 1 or whatever. And then I would get off, rest a little bit, and then I would drive from Valdosta to Moultrie, which is about an hour one way, train for an hour, take a shower, eat a snack and stuff on the way back, and then train for another hour and a half in Valdosta after we got back, because there was more people to train with, different groups of people, so I would have extra training. And sometimes it would be the same exact class back to back, the same lesson back to back. And people would be like, and this is where I got, like, this is how I understood the way, though. It was like, people would complain about that. And it's like, but once I did those classes back to back like that, it's like, I'd pick up something new. Almost the second class, there was always an extra detail that I didn't get from the first class. And it was like, oh, okay. That's
reps,
yeah, exactly. Stacking the freaking reps, man. And even if it's not, and this is the thing, the reps allow you the time for self-discovery. If you're really genuinely doing the reps and you're honestly trying to do the stuff the way that someone's asking you to do it, you are going to find the self-discovery route of it.
What works for you?
I'm giving you the MapQuest map. The roads have changed since then. You can still get here with this path-ish. But it's, you know what I mean? It's like, this is, and so you stack your reps up and you're like, oh man, that road's pretty clogged up every time I go down there, and I've had to turn around a few times. I don't really like that one. I'm going to go down this side road, and you've never taken this, but and it seems out of the way, but I'm going to take, and it's like, oh damn, that saves like 10 minutes. That's cool. You know what I mean? So that's the thing. And that's where the body type argument comes in, and the physical ability argument comes in. Yeah, right. Exactly.
The different short gap bridges.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That comes into, that's real life. But the application comes down to stacking the reps, man. But being mindful, stacking reps. Back in the day, show up, spar, roll. You're stacking reps, but you're only stacking reps on being tough. And we talked about that a little bit earlier.
Doing what
everybody's tough. Yeah. Right. You're just running your A game over and over against somebody else's A game. And then the more you know each other, then y'all are just battling each other's one style over and over again. You're not really like changing stuff, So it's coming in and it's doing the work that's hard. And it's the stuff that the coach says, no, you can do that better. And you're like, I'm trying. And it's like, yeah, but try better, and it hurts your feelings a little bit when you hear that. But those were the things sometimes where it's like, I kind of thought I was doing my best, but then when they said that and I tried a little harder, it was like, oh, damn, it works. You know what I mean? Like a little more honest effort from yourself. These are my personal reflections, I guess, from mistakes that I made on the way up. It's like at a certain point, I knew stuff. I'd already been teaching a lot. And so I knew what worked and didn't work. And so unless somebody could really show me something and make it work in a way that I could understand, then I would just be like, nah, we're not, not even going to ever try that, because you can't explain it to me to make it work. Whereas now I can hear something and I'll even think it's like, man, this is BS, but I'll still like entertain it for a little while and think about it. And I may even play with it a little bit when nobody's looking to see what is this, and then it's like, oh, that's kind of cool, and then we'll see what happens there. And then after a couple of weeks of it, it may be like, yeah, that was just kind of fun. There's no real, I can't really use that like consistently. Yeah. There's nothing that I can really do with it, but it is a fun route to choose sometimes. You know what I mean? This is kind of fun, y'all. Let's try this for fun. Or, hey, you got to do this every time. Guaranteed. If you don't do this, you're going to get wrecked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's the difference in this stuff. And you have to know that for yourself. And the only way to do it is stacking the reps up. And that's how I think I know the stuff I know, is because I've done the reps. Like I know more. I've seen more things. I've watched people do it. So when I, like, as a coach, that's the thing too, is like, watching people. So when you watch matches and things like that, are you watching it from a competitor standpoint, or are you watching it from a coaching standpoint? Like, because then that you're looking from a different lens. And I didn't realize that too. You know, when I'm watching matches now, I'm watching it more from like a coaching perspective of trying to pull back and understand like the meta of everything or whatever, you know. And then when I was competing though, it was the most minor detail every time to me. What can I do the most minimum amount of work to make this thing the best overall? And I still use that same approach in the coaching, but I still have to watch the whole thing at one time because I can't feel it when it's not me.
I found myself a couple times in your room being like where I'll stand, like if I'm the odd man in groups, I'll come like stand next to you because I'm trying to learn how to see it from the perspective on the outside like that. And how do you explain it 18 different ways?
It's tough
because each person's going to have a different question. Each person's going to have a different body type. Each person's going to, so like getting up at that, like 30,000 view, like looking down and like looking from above and going, okay, well, maybe you should try this. You don't listen to what I'm saying because you're not tall enough to try that. Like understanding that is like huge in the coaching aspect.
Yeah, it is. And like, it's seeing certain things and it's like, okay, I know this works. And so then you're having trouble. So I'll come over here and look at it. And it's like, sometimes you're doing one major thing wrong and that's an easy fix. Or like you said, sometimes it's their neck is too thick by their arm and you can't quite get the gap there, or your legs are short, or they're whatever kind of deal. And so that's when I need to walk around and I'm like, show me. And then that's when I'm like, try this. And then if they say something that, you know, if they don't want to try what I'm asking, then I understand what's happening already.
Yeah.
You just want to do what you want to do.
You just want to do your thing.
Yeah. And that's fine. You want me to tell you what you're wanting to do is the way to go. And I can't. So I'll just tell you to work it out.
Right.
Just work that out. And if I see something, I'll tell you.
I still have to get them to do it to me. I have to I can't when they're trying to explain something, I'm like, do it to me. And then I'm like, okay, do this, this, and
see, but then when I've done that, and not to shit on you, Zach, but when I've done that to Zach before, he's like, well, of course it's not going to work on you. And it's like, but that's not what I said. I just want to see what it feels like.
I think that you and I are a little different in the physical attribute. Like nobody ever looks at me and goes, oh, well, you just crushed me. But yeah, like I get what you're saying.
But that's what I'm saying. Like it's so optically when I'm talking about certain things, people assume that. And then when I'm talking about other things, people assume the opposite.
Well, I try to explain to people all the time training with you that like how difficult it is. Like as far as like, I couldn't imagine trying to be your training partner in MMA. Like that would be awful.
It's
like
not fun.
Your jiu-jitsu training partner when you really need to train. I said it a while ago on this show about like when you were training for the PGF. Like I don't know that we could be full-time training partners when you're training. Cause like it's different.
I need it.
But what people don't realize, they're like, oh yeah, he's huge. Like that's tough. That's difficult. It's like, yeah, there's that. But also he does everything right.
And I'm fast. And I'm smooth, you know what I mean? It's
it's different.
It's not what you think.
It's not just because he's heavy. Like it's because he's blocking all of my other things. I train with heavy people all the time. Like training with a heavy person that does all the right things at the right time is another type of miserable.
Yeah, a heavy person that's not moving versus a heavy person that's moving into every space.
I'll lay up underneath somebody trying to smash me all
different.
day.
That's different. Yeah. Like you can handle the static weight, but somebody that knows how to move into and out of the spaces and around things, that's what I've always wanted to do. Like the first time I heard that that you got to learn jiu-jitsu from a small man thing, it made me want to fight everybody in the room. Because nobody was spending more time than I was. Nobody wanted to understand better than I did. And my body,
you want to learn jiu-jitsu from a technical person,
right? And my body didn't matter about that.
Right.
Like what I could do made it different, but what I know is not. Like my mind is sharp, and I could see things that you can do that I can't do. And the body type issue.
Do you think you've gotten better about communicating that?
A lot, I think so, for sure. Especially since now I've been in here in this room by myself more. You know, in San Diego. There was always Boogie or Gabe or Sloan or Manolo or Bill or somebody else to kind of pass the buck to if I was unsure about something like that. I could be like, let's go ask them what they think. And then I would go get the information and not really have to dig into it that much because there was just somebody right here and I could walk away. But now it's like,
you have to go figure it out.
There's a question.
Yeah.
And it's like, what is the answer? And it's like, this is my person. This is my person. They need that, like, they need this information and they need it right. Like, not right now, but they need the correct information. And so I have to give that pause answer sometimes to be where it's like, I don't know, let's try to work it out for now. And then I don't say anything, but I immediately am like at home that night scouring for information on the thing that came up.
I still send them, like, I start sending them stuff because, like, I know where to look. So, like, I'll go find it and send it to them.
Right. And so,
that's what I do.
It's easy. That's saying, but then for me, I can come back and talk about I can come back with it. But then my black belt answer is, I could send you this video, but then I can also explain to you the context of where that relates to our conversation. Why I said this versus that is because look at this video and you see how watch, pause it, this, that. That's what I mean. Like at 3 seconds, when they put their foot here, the whole thing changes. But when they had their foot here, like you did, it's not going to work.
A different thing.
But it's not wrong, but that is not going to work this way unless you do that, like this image. And like, it's like for me doing it, sometimes they're like, oh, well, you're, this big dude doing it. Of course it's going to like work. But what about when the small person tries to do it? Well, if they're doing it on somebody that's also their size or whatever and stuff, then it should just work the same way. It should almost be just like a 1-for-1 like transfer. But now if somebody's bigger, stronger, whatever, stuff like that, then the application starts to change. And that's, like I said, certain things you won't do against certain people. Certain size people don't want to play underneath me. I don't care how good your bottom game is. You don't want to be under there, but for long enough to make me make a mistake for you to get back up and get on top.
The whole purpose is to get to top from there.
That's right. Yeah. It's like, it's not to play guard.
Which really is the bottom game.
For everybody.
It should be.
But now we've made it, whatever.
Rabbit hole. Sorry.
That's right.
We're already an hour and 56 minutes in. So. Drew asked how long we go. We just go.
We just go hard, man. That's what I'm saying. You just put Bobby in. He just start talking. And then, dude, all right. So, yeah. So just, that's been the thing I was thinking about on the way over here too, was like, we were talking about it a little bit. And I was speaking with Brandon yesterday. He was like, I'm still not sure that I fully came down from the PGF yet.
I just now feel like my normal self a little bit, but like, yeah.
I felt a come down in the last couple of days, slightly, but then the Mid-South stuff has kept it at that level to where I'm still in like promoter guy character mode and not back in the regular Coach Steven mode that's here every day. And it's funny. Like, it's funny. Like that energy, it's different, man. And it's weird. And I don't know how to say it in any other way than that. And it's just funny. But like when I was there doing the announcing thing, I'm literally like trying to put myself into character on the way there. And then as I'm there, I'm trying to not break the character. Like I'm trying to stay up and lively and like loose and like ready to just like pop, pop, pop quick and excited and all that kind of stuff. It's a job, like to keep that like energy level up at that, like when it's not my normal always self. Like I'm a bit of an introvert until I get to know people or whatever and stuff like that. And then now I'm getting a lot more comfortable. Like I said, when I can imagine myself being a character, I don't care what's happening around me. Like in that way, you know what I mean? It's like when I was doing the announcer thing, it's like, at first I was self-conscious and it's like, oh man, try to do your little announcer voice. Oh, that's cool, man. Look at you. Little fake announcer dude trying to do his little Bruce Buffer voice. That's cute. You know what I mean? And then as I started talking more with Brandon about it, and he's like, no, man, this is your job to do this. Like he's like, literally like the whole energy of the whole season relies on you. And I was like, whoa. And so then it's like, what does that mean, man? It's like, hey, well, you got to be on. Like you got to be on the whole time. Like you got to be hyped. You got to be positive, like motivating the people, even if they're having a hard time. The hard questions still got to be like up. It's got to leave everything up. It can't leave like on that down note. And there can't be like a dead air moment where people are curious that much, about what's happening. And it's like, it's hype the whole time. Bro, that was like 30 hours of hype. It's a full-time job being hype for that week. And I just don't know if I've like fully like unpacked all that stuff yet,
Maybe Boff of Em's here to as a
just like in and out. That's what I'm saying. It's like it cuts in and cuts out. It's like I'll be somewhere and I'll just like hit a promo real quick. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, my bad. I didn't mean
have you ever listened to anything like Jim Carrey talks about, like going in at a character, like when he did different
people
and whatnot? Like it's like that. Like it's like Jim Carrey's not here right now.
Yeah, no, and that's what I'm saying. Is like I was, and you mentioned it, but like watching some of those videos about announcers and like MCs or whatever through the week, like, dude, I want to be good at everything. I don't want to not be good at anything that I do. So once I realized this is the thing that I was doing, I was working live for those 5 or 6 hours, but I was probably listening and studying like microphone techniques and like listening to guys talk about
technical breakdowns of microphones.
Yeah,
I was impressed by that.
The way that
how it works.
Exactly.
The science
exactly. It's like, okay, that makes sense. And then also the guys, the voice and how they use their voice and how they maintain it and how they train it.
It's made you better on here.
I think so.
Yeah. Like it's made you more entertaining and better capable of like having this.
Boom, boom,
you can
boom.
tell other people on when they're on mics. I saw that in the show that we were doing during midweek. You were like telling people how to like talk to the mic. And those were mics we had never even been on.
Yeah.
So like stuff that I would normally have to do, you were doing. Like it was, you grew.
Just that's it. It's just like there's no reason for it except for that it's just exciting to me and I want to be a part of it.
You walked off the end.
And that's like the same thing with Drew. And it's like people want opportunities. Listen, this is not to talk trash on Brandon whatsoever. This is me understanding who he is as my friend and somebody that I work with or whatever. But I can see where younger Steven would have really shit the bed in this moment. And other people may too for opportunities. But like the first thing we talked about is like, hey man, I want to be somehow be involved in season 3. I don't know what that means. Like, and to me, I'm just like in here with my hat in my hand, like, please put me on somewhere. You know what I mean?
Put me in, coach.
Yeah. Let me be on the show. Cause I just want to be a part of the show.
Right. And
then he's like, okay, cool. Well, we could probably like use another commentary person as the third. And it's like, yes, that's what I want to do because they were talking trash on me. So I'm gonna get out there and I'm gonna give the athlete's perspective of somebody that's in there in this kind of format or whatever. Cool. Yeah. Yeah. That's sick, man. I'm excited. And then I think you're going to be a coach. I was like, all right.
Different.
That'd be cool. Fun.
Yeah.
I think I can go out there and swing with that. That's not necessarily what I was getting hyped up for, but I think I can turn that into a really cool
This will help me out as a coach. And,
right. Exactly. It'll give me an experience that I haven't had in that way. And then literally the next day he was on a podcast and he announced Eli, Drew, the Elkins and Sean and didn't say me. And I'd already told like 3 or 4 people that I was going to be a coach.
And I think I was going to be a coach.
Yeah. And then they're like, I thought you were going to be one of the coaches. And I was like, yeah, I thought so too, And so I messaged was like, hey man, I don't care. I'm just asking. So and this is what I said is like, I want to be prepared for whatever I'm going to do. And so I don't care what it is, as long as you need the help, just tell me what I can do to help. Let me know. And it's like, okay, definitely I think the commentary on the live show during the matches or whatever, you, Scaff, Lindsay, I think that'll work out. And it's like, cool. Yeah, I'm excited to go back to that. That's what I really wanted to do most of all. That's most of what I wanted to do anyway, was to do the live commentary, because that's something that I've been wanting to kind of work on and work out. And then it's like, oh, post-show stuff, pre-show stuff. Can you do like post-matches interviews or whatever? And it's like, yeah, sure. And then literally 5 minutes before the first show, he's like, yeah, you're not doing any of this stuff that you've like prepared for. Actually, you're going to be doing this live announcing gig.
Here's 2 microphones.
With like literally 5 minutes to get it going. I haven't worked out any of the openings. I haven't worked out how I'm going to, I haven't even thought about how to say, and coming to the stage next, or whatever I want to say. It's like, I haven't thought of any of that stuff, but okay. And now it's turned into this kind of thing where maybe it's something I can do more. I'm definitely going to be the guy for PGF season 4 because of the way that we did this season. Does that mean I'll ever go anywhere else? I don't know, but I'm ready. I'm ready to try it. And if there's ever an opportunity on one of the bigger shows or anything like that, and they need somebody, this experience may make me the guy that could jump in there and fill that role in an emergency kind of setting where the real guy's out. And then that's how it works. Like the stand-in just kind of gets the role because the energy's there, or whatever it takes. And so
that Wallo says he can't praise you enough, and he's all about Bobby, both of them. Man,
I love you guys, man. You got, like, that's what I'm saying. Everybody made it so much fun for me. Like, that's what I'm saying is like, it took the self-consciousness out of it. Understanding that, like, you guys are my friends, man. Like Wallow, Egghead, all you guys. Like I look at you guys like you guys are my friends. You guys are not fans of the PGF or fans of whoever. Like Brandon, Keelan, you, like everybody. Like you guys are my friends. So like when my friends were starting to like support me and be hyped, I was like, oh dog, I'm going all over the edge.
Bro,
like,
I can't remember when you went all in, when you went over. And like, I think maybe I was standing next to Keelan or so. No, because Keelan was in the back.
He was in the back.
But like, it was whoever I was with, we were like, turned around. I was like, all right. Like he's about it.
It's like it went and it wasn't there at first because I was in my head and I wasn't in the right spot. Like I was standing in an area where everybody else wasn't that into the production, you know, by the tiki bar, and they were cool. Like we were having good conversations and stuff, but they were really into the matches and that they weren't really like being loose with me. And so then I went over there by Brandon and we started just talking jokes and talking trash or whatever. And that's where the nicknames came from, is because I think he felt that I was tight and he was helping trying to keep me loose. And then when I felt that he was tight, I would try to help keep him loose. And then when like I felt his energy go down a little bit or anything, I was like, oh, I got to do this for the homie. The homie needs this. You know what I mean? And then I saw how he would pop after I went all in. And I was like, all right, man, if nothing else, if I can see Brandon get super excited like that every time somebody walks out, I did my job. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you were just performing for the
That's it. I was just right there. You know,
that's what made it so genuine.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Is like he's like, try this, and we talk about the cadence for some of the nicknames or whatever. And so I'd be quietly over there. And he's like, no, you got to pause and then say the last name. And it's like, okay, I'll try that. You know, and then, so we'd work it out. You know, and some nicknames changed and whatever. It's just
the whole vibe of that whole week, like it's
incredible, man.
Yeah, that was fun.
But the biggest thing is, like, to reiterate that, is like I could have just been an ass about him taking away my jobs.
Go take your toys and go home.
Yeah, I'm too good for. Don't you know I'm a black belt, bro, and done this and done that and done this and like came all the way here and disrespect or whatever. And it's like, no, man, this dude's busy. He's working. He's trying to make it all go. And he's just hitting it with everything he's got. And
doing it for the culture.
And he needed somebody that could be that guy, because maybe other people couldn't do other jobs. And not saying they wouldn't, but maybe they wouldn't have been as good in other roles. Like Egghead crushed that desk during the live commentary. I was like, okay, him and Scaff and Lindsay together, that was actually a really good live desk. So that was not a step down. It may have even been a step up for that part of it in my mind. Because he may have done better than I would have ended up doing, because he and Scaff just like vibed a lot. They were both like nerdy stat guys like that, and they bounced that off so well. And then Egghead couldn't have done what I did. Like he wouldn't have done the job I did as well, probably. So it's like just keeping it loose like that. And then Scaff probably wouldn't have done the announcement job that well, but he crushes that lead mic, and Lindsay wouldn't have done it as well. You know what I mean? Keelan doesn't really want to be able to, what role needs to be filled. Okay, I can probably do it. And am I the best? Not in the world. I'm the best here. You know what I'm saying? So like, that's it. Just put me in, coach, and I'll make a play. And I'm going to go out here and submit some black belts in this thing one day. I got my blue belt and mic skills over the weekend.
So we get, okay. Yeah.
You know, it's official, everybody. It's official. Brandon gave me a blue belt.
It's an official blue belt mic.
Yep. Mic skills and the blue belt.
All right.
Working.
I mean, you're going to start vanishing though? You got to stay on the mic then.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I'm saying. I'm on it. Like I'm in here now. I'm done now. I'm looking for advanced classes and stuff. You know, I'm trying to go in there, skip the warm-ups. I'm actually doing it the right way though. As a blue belt now, I'm circling into the fundamentals more. Brandon actually sent me a book about how to like warm up and like use your breath more and different things like that. So it's just kind of
going out by
and to make it sound like a better, even way, even when it goes up or whatever, just to make the things right. And I blew my voice out literally on the it would have been fine other than the such and such Battle-Rama.
Oh, that's where you lost it.
Oh yeah, that's for Josh. I went too hard. Like you could hear it crack, and that's like
yeah.
And I was like, all right, well, it'll be ready by Saturday, I guess. But I think that happening Thursday made me so much better Saturday, because I was worried about my voice, that I studied and practiced cadence.
It's almost like an injury and making
voice.
you better.
Yeah, it was like, if I go up high like this, it's gonna break. It's like, all right, cool. So coming to the stage next. Coming to the stage. Okay, coming to the stage. You know, it's like just trying, like when y'all weren't there or whatever.
I just imagine you walking around the Airbnb just.
I got my headphones on and these dudes are out there like trying to putt. And I'm like, and coming to the stage next.
Yeah, no, that was just worth the visual I got.
So yeah, man, I don't know, man. Again, like I said, I don't want to do anything badly. I don't want to suck in anything that I'm going to do. So like,
I think it shows.
I'm all in. I'm all into whatever it is. And if it's something that I'm into, like I've wanted to do all these gigs since I was a child. These are the things that I
got to watch my friend live out like his childhood dream. It was kind of what that felt like.
Fun, dude.
Yeah.
So much fun. Like, I mean, like, dude, it's really like all the things that I've imagined that I wanted to do as a kid. All the different jobs that I kind of hoped I would grow up to be in some different ways. They're all forming into this one role that I have now. Like I'm a teacher and a coach, right? So I can have that role where I'm helping kids and adults or whatever, like grow and become better and different things. But I've also been a professional athlete. Like I've been on a professional. I've had the walkout where everybody's focused on me and they're screaming and they're cheering or people are booing and they're talking trash about me or whatever.
Well, you know what, the guy that is asking you to guide him through that path is seeking. You know what he's at. Yeah,
I've done that part of it. I've been a referee. I've been the guy that's trying to do that part of the game. I've been a judge who has to try to decide who a winner is in certain situations, which is tough. You know, I've done the commentary work now. I've done the analyst work now. I've done the announcers work now. Like those are all things like when I was a kid watching professional wrestling or whatever and stuff. It's like those were like all jobs that's like, yeah, that would be really cool to be able to do that one day. That'd be really cool to be able to do that one day. And I've done all of that up to, you know, this level. Now,
so like if you showed 12-year-old Steven what's going on,
so
like
stoked,
he would be
sick. Yeah. This is just be so happy and proud of himself, to be honest. And that's what I got to keep telling myself all the time, man. It's like, dude, it doesn't look like maybe what you now want, but you before would have like done anything to get what you have now.
Yeah.
Don't lose sight of that. Don't lose sight of everything that you've already done to get what you have, because this is what you wanted. This is more than I wanted. This is beyond, like, I could quit now in theory and have already finished further than my mind took me when I started.
What you thought you were going to get.
More than I'm capable of. I'm way more than I'm capable of. And that's why I can't stop now, because I don't know if there is a limit. I want to find it.
It's like, I unlock this. What's it going to look like behind door number 8?
Like, I'm waiting to fail, bro. Like, kind of like that says, like, I was going to do the commentary gig. That kind of went smooth. I was going to do the announcer gig. It's like, hey, you're really good. And I was just like, man, these guys are just like, thank y'all for trying to make me feel good. But then everybody keeps saying it. Like, there was obviously things I could do better, but just like, I was like, all right, well, I guess that's a thing. You know, it's like, maybe I need to go out here and just I'm pushing the envelope to see what it is, to see what's what. We've done the camp. We're doing the tournaments. We're doing this. Blah, blah, blah. I don't know. We fail things too. That's what I'm saying. And so I'm just doing the things that make me happy. And if it fails in some kind of way, then it's like, all right, well, that wasn't the thing. And
it made me happy while I did it.
Yeah, exactly. And it generated some positivity for somebody else or the community or, you know, at large.
Culture.
And so, so that's a better thing than for me to always get monetary value or money out of the deal, or what I think is a successful move is not always the only thing that matters. Other people find success, and that's what matters, you know? So yeah, super stoked. Potentially looking at a bigger space for our gym. We waiting on like lease information from somebody on that, like 4 times the amount of space and stuff. So the potential of what we could do with that is, I don't know. Can't really, like, I haven't had enough time to think about all the possibilities of things or whatever we could do with that. So we're looking to expand the gym now, which is going to help us grow with there. More opportunities. So thanks to everybody that's on board. Everybody, the Musgrove Trial Firm for sure, 678-226-1994. Parkway Automotive, they're a big supporter of us here at the studio. And then obviously here at the studio, but not so obviously, they also are big supporters at the gym. Brandon is like, he trains with us. His son trains with us. big help to the community and stuff like that. So thank you guys for being there. And if there's anybody else that wants to jump on board, we have these tournaments and different things. We're looking for some companies or things that would want to partner with us and see how we can work together to maybe grow together. Not necessarily trying to make billions of dollars, but we do need to fund a couple of things. And if you have some budget for marketing and things like that, why don't you talk to us and see if we can work something out for you, as simple as putting a banner up on the wall all the way to, I can sit here and cut a promo for you. And
make commercials.
We can make it weird. We can do whatever
a whole
you need
thing.
To do. Yeah, we can come to you or whatever. There's a bunch of options on the table. So if anybody's interested in that, hit me up, hit up Isaac. I'm a little shy asking people directly about that, but it doesn't feel so weird right here because I can't see you. So if you think that you would want to do that, talk to me, and I would be overly excited that you would want to help. So I appreciate that stuff. Anything from you, good sir?
This weekend, tune in. We'll be publishing, brackets
Mid-South.
and whatnot.
Yeah,
Mid-South.
I'll probably put the bracket out Thursday night.
Okay, that's what we're gonna hold info on bracket till Thursday.
Yeah, the
competitors. That's tomorrow.
The competitors are out.
Yeah.
So I may start posting the bracket up tomorrow night.
Bracket tomorrow night.
Yeah, that way we already can have a plan for the first rounds and like what it's going to look like. So,
well, wherever you're watching this, watch the.
And if you are one of the competitors, don't be scared, homie. Don't be scared. Come out here and run it. See what happens.
Might be your day.
You never know. You never know. Don't worry about the name that I'm probably going to end up randomizing the thing, and you may end up with 200-300 pounders first round, or you may end up, somebody else. And the only thing I'm going to do is separate the teammates. So it's going to be exciting. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're giving away $2,000 to somebody, so they're going to be excited, whoever that is, for sure. And man, thank you so much, guys. Make sure you check it out, BJJ365, or on my channel on YouTube. Make sure you guys follow Isaac, the Daily Stack, the WanderingGrappler.com. You can go on there and get some nice t-shirts and gear. That would be like super supportive of him. Those things really help. They go a long way, man. Like, you guys can't imagine how much 20 or 30 or 40 bucks goes if a couple of you guys chip in at one time or overtime and stuff like that. It does not go unnoticed. So we really appreciate everybody that's staying on board. Like, all jokes aside, without everybody that's like making it be a show, it wouldn't be a show. So thank y'all for tuning in and being with us, man. We love y'all.